Today we're going to be looking at the new cards. I have a lozenge in my mouth because my throat hurts. Not entirely sure why, but it does. So excuse any of the teeth rattling. Oh right, I guess I didn't actually ever talk about the ones that came before. What I did was I just opened things in a new tab. Did I talk about these? What's for each opponent who has more cards in hand than you? I don't remember. Damn it. Alright, since I don't remember, I'm gonna load them up anyway. What's a Megatsu? I hope these are opening. Finally, truly, finally did it. So yeah, these aren't in, it seems we have 100% not morph. Yeah, that surprised me. The way that the hint went, I was very confused by why that was what they decided to do. But yeah, so we're just doing this in essentially spoiler order. Yeah, I theoretically I could have put things together better, but I just wanted to go through these like normal. At least I know I'm 100% not opening any packs of the set. I hate morph. I think morph is fine. I just don't like that we're seeing it again. Like, I don't know. Alright, well, without further ado, we're just going to talk about some cards. I'm very likely to kind of be blasé over most of them, because a lot of them are just going to be random commons or uncommons. I mean, it's the 6 mana 4/4 detective, cool. We have detectives, that's cool. We have clue tokens being big in this set. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a bounce card, and then if you bounce your own card, you get a clue. This card is fine and limited, but I just only having to keep track of it. That's fair. I literally just started. Killer Among Us. Haha, they did Among Us. Green is sus. 5 mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, make 3 1/1 tokens. And you have to choose. Yeah, you have to choose one of those creature types, and then you sack this enchantment and reveal the chosen creature type. If the attacking creature token is the chosen type, put 3 1/1 counters on it against death touch. I mean, if you're doing apparently white, green-white is a super go wide strategy in this limited environment. It's fine, I guess. You typically you write one down secretly. That's typically what you do, is you write one down secretly. But yeah, I mean, it's strange. There are other black border cards that do something like secretly, so it's a wacky card, but I don't think it's going to be an issue, really. My man Agris Cos. This dude is the definition of I'm getting pulled for this shit. So I entered playing Magic during the first Ravnica block. And I think so. I got cards from Ravnica, City of Guilds, and Guild Pact. But the first packs that I bought were in Goblin Gain, so I'm good. Reasonable. Were from Dissension. And in Fat Packs, you used to get a book. And the book for Dissension included Agris Cost because he was one of the important characters in the first Ravnica block. Essentially, dude's a cop. He died, but he's still a cop because of the weird way that Ravnica's ghost shit works. So it's just very funny that I see my guy still just like, man was already too old when he died. Man's never gonna have his last day before retirement. Absolutely. Like this dude is permanently 1 day from retirement. Anyway, what does he do? 4-mana 2/4 Spirit Detective. He has double strike and vigilance. Okay, reasonable so far. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, choose up to 1 target creature. If it's suspected, exile it. Otherwise, suspect it. A suspected creature has menace and can't block. A suspected creature has menace, can't block. Valdetta went Shadows, MH2, and then this. I mean, we kind of got some clue stuff. I guess I can see what you're saying. MTG, MKM. Have they put a mechanics article out yet? They did. Cool. I need to do this first. Alright, Disguise is just morph. That one I can talk more about when we get to it. What the fuck is Cloak? Oh, okay. So it's just Manifest. I guess my issue is the same as my issue with Megamorph at the time, is it's literally just Morph, but with more stuff. Like, Megamorph was Morph except you get like 1/1 counters. And this shit is Morph, but it has Ward. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like essentially it's just to keep up with power creep. Bleh. Investigate, we already had that. Suspect, okay. I think this is more different. I think it's literally the same though. Manifest from anywhere. I guess that's fair. Okay, everyone's guilty until proven innocent. That's a dangerous thing to say. You can suspect a creature that creature picks up a new designation. Okay. A suspected creature has menace and can't block for as long as it remains suspected. Distrust is hard to shake. Once suspected, a creature remains suspected until it leaves the battlefield or another effect causes it to no longer be suspected. If a suspected creature stops being a creature, it remains suspected. Okay, cool. Okay. Okay. Collect evidence. Hard evidence can be blah blah blah. The new keyword action, collect evidence, always appears with a number. Collecting evidence is a cost. Okay. That you may be asked to pay in a variety of contexts. It can be part of activation cost of ability or an additional cost for spell. It can even be imposed by a ward. Collect evidence, fix delve. Each time you are asked to exile any number of cards from your graveyard with total mana value of the indicated number or greater. To collect evidence 6, you could exile a single card with mana value 6, or a bunch of that shit. Okay. Sure. It does make lands in your graveyard garbage, but I guess that's fine. Love the flavor on the beast. Gotta track it down to target it. Yeah. I mean, there's also precedent with Feroxes specifically being annoying to target. Like Nullhide Ferox was the one, if discarded, it goes into play. And then it also has some non-creature spells shenanigans. We're here for a solving case. Case is a new type of enchantment debuting in the set. Okay. It shares the, not saga, it shares the class layout. Individual creatures have 3 abilities. The top ability is always active. The middle ability, preceded by to solve, sets out the conditions under which you can solve the case at the beginning of your end step. If the case is unsolved, solved, and if you've met the criteria, the case becomes solved. The described condition must be true both as your end step begins and as the solve ability tries to resolve. For case of Falcon, I do not see a bird in there. If you control 3 more artifacts at your end step, the to solve ability will trigger and go on the stack. If you still control 3, okay, cool. Proceeded by solve becomes active. If that ability is an activated ability, cannot be activated. Its triggered ability now can trigger. Okay. It's a new case. Okay. Sure. That's fine. So this dude can make it so a creature can't block, which is good when you have double strike. It does give the creature menace though, which is funny because it makes the vigilance worse. It is choose up to 1, so you are able to like not care. Is it another? No, it can choose himself as well. So I like that it can choose itself, so that it can give itself menace. If you are really trying to get through for damage, I think it's interesting. Otherwise suspected. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. Yeah, you can blink it. If you have other suspect stuff, then you can force your opponents to lose things. Yeah, it's fine. Airtight Alibi. 3-mana enchantment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, untap enchanted creature, gains hexproof until end of turn. If it's suspected, it's no longer suspected. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't become suspected. Oh, I blinked. There's another card in the set that combos too well with Old Ghost Man. I'm sure we'll get to it. This is funny. This is giving me the businessman thing. I don't remember. It's freaking 2-mana enchantment, I think. It just turns you into a regular person. It's giving those vibes, and I love it. It is flash, so that's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's like the definition of fine. Analyze the Pollen. Okay, it's a story spotlight. It's a single green sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may collect evidence 8. I know that, like, the way that Wizards templates cards, whatever, however you want to say it, I know that it's correct to do you may collect evidence 8. I would really prefer if they wrote you may collect 8 pieces of evidence. Because this is just weird. Anyway, search your library for a basic land card. If evidence was collected, instead search your library for a creature or land card, reveal that card and put it into your hand. Okay. So it's a different worldly... Oh, no, worldly tutor is an instant. I mean, it puts it on top, but it's an instant. Collect evidence 8. You're getting a creature... I don't know how good this is. Because 8 evidence feels like it might be a bunch, but I don't know until I play with it. I mean, you know, it seems fine. Oh, that's one of the things. That's one of the issues I see. Very similar to Delve, is that, one, this card specifically does not add a lot to future evidence, right? But evidence parasitizes itself. So, like, the more cards you have in a deck with evidence, the less likely you are, relatively speaking, to activate your evidence collection. So that's an interesting kind of balancing thing that you see with Delve cards already. So I'd be very interested to see, because like I don't think you put this in a deck with a lot of evidence anyway. Well, it's all about total mana value. I know it's about total mana value, but that still holds true, right? Like this requires 8 mana value of cards, and it only provides 1, right? So like, I would not see I don't see this card being good in a deck that has other strong high evidence cards. Traverse. If there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, instead search looking for a creature or land. Oh yeah, it's like literally the same. So we also saw this with dig up the past. Dig up. Oh, it's literally just dig up. Search life for a land. Oh no, it's no. This is okay. Never mind. It's different. Exile 2 quest and sure good. Well, the thing is, right? Like, so the reason it's different than Traverse is because, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Delirium is probably relatively easy to do in a format like Timeless, at least. But when you cast Traverse the Uvenwald, you don't lose Delirium, right? But when you cast Analyze Pollen, you lose 8 mana value, such that like the card you get either has to have low evidence value if you're trying to play more stuff like that, or I mean, I don't know, like it feels like a lot. Hey, we're getting Assassin's Sword reprint. No reprint I would have preferred. That would have been pretty cool to get. I mean, I understand that Assassin's Trophy makes a ton of sense here, but I'm sad. Is it right to think of it as only adding 1? Yeah, because the thing is, right? It's only adding 1 because you're getting the creature, but your plan, I assume, isn't to immediately put the creature into the yard, right? So like you have like banked mana value, but it's not mana value. It's not liquid mana value, you know. Assassin's Trophy is cool, but I don't want it. I want Abrupt Decay. We already have Assassin's Trophy. I want Abrupt Decay, damn it. I mean, it's fine. Like, it does what it needs to do. It's more flavorful in the set. Whatever. Aurelia's Vindicator. Also Street Wraith. Yeah, but if you're spending 8 mana to cycle or 8 mana value worth of cards to cycle a Street Wraith, that seems very strange. But I do love this art. It's giving She-Ra in the Princesses of Power, I think is what it's called. But I'm not sure how much I like the case files. The words are slightly more difficult for me to read. 4 mana, flying, lifelink, ward 2. It's a 4/2. So just evaluating on that. 4 mana, 4/2 with flying, lifelink, and ward. It's reasonable. It trades down, obviously, but whatever. Disguise, motherfucker. Disguise X and 4. When it's turned face up, exile up to X other target creatures from the battlefield. I think I misunderstood something. Okay. So yeah, you are thinking of it the same way I just thought about it for a moment. It always costs 3 mana to disguise. It is literally just morph. I just realized something. So we're getting, gosh, the list MKM. Is it this one? Yes. It is this one. It has the list here. Okay. So what I realized, because I saw this the other day when I was talking about the list, and one of the cards that I noticed was coming to Arena was Ixidor. And I thought that was a bit strange. Like, immediately I was like, why are they putting Ixidor in the game? It's pretty dope. Because now some people can play with some memes. Obviously, they can't play with this if they're trying to do a flippy-uppy, but still. When it's turn face up, exile up to X other target creature cards from the battlefield and or creature cards from graveyards. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hand. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, you can use that for a bunch of different things. Like, so let's say you play this on turn 3 as a morph creature, right? Turn 4, obviously, you don't get much value out of it. Like flipping it back up, whatever, that's fine. Even if you just, like, turn 5, flip it up, you can you can get rid of one of your opponent's creatures, right? And you can attack for 4 in the skies with lifelink. Pretty dope. You get to keep the ward, which is really nice. And then, like, past that turn, like, it's just gravy. Like, obviously I'm thinking right now more in the context of draft, but like, this is like one of the best top decks you could have, right? Like, if your opponent has a big board that's going to murder you, pay as much as you can, exile the biggest things, and set them back some turns, right? If you're in a situation where your opponent has been holding cards in their hand, it's like, oh, they probably have removal, you play this, and then you flip it and get a bunch of your creatures back from your graveyard. Like, that is pretty cool. Obviously, it's a mythic, so it's not gonna fucking matter all that much in that context, but this is very similar to damn it, Angel Serenity. It's very similar to Angel of Serenity. Easier to cast face down. That's also true. Like, that is another thing that you can just say. It's like, not only is it easier to cast because it's lighter on the white mana, but you don't have to have any X to flip it, right? So you can essentially be attacking on turn 4 with a 4 mana flyer with lifelink and ward. Like, that's still just good. Yeah, no, it's a cool card. Again, it's very similar to Angel of Serenity. It's dope. Cool stuff. Auspicious Arrival. 2 mana instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Investigate. Very strange card. Target creature gets +2/+2. Have we seen a lot of 2 mana +2/+2s with set mechanic? I can't remember. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. This dude looks like a D-bag here, but oh, he looks more like a D-bag here. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's limited pump. It's fine. It's X-Bang Ferox. It's Fixed Questing Beast. It's legit Fixed Questing Beast. It's a 4 mana beast with Death Touch and Haste. And Ward, collect evidence 4. That's fucking hilarious. Okay, so it doesn't have vigilance. It can be chump blocked. And it doesn't have the oopsie doopsie damage stuff. Oh, but Questing Beast is a legendary creature. It doesn't fucking matter in this day and age. I'm looking away and new keywords aren't being added. What? But Questing Beast was a mythic, you see? So this isn't allowed to be as strong. No, holy shit. Okay, this art's pretty dope, to be honest. The card actually seems like this is what I like to see in a rare. Like, good cost to stats ratio, a few vanilla keywords, and some protection. Like, like this is a good green rare. Like, that's just what it is. Yeah, card seems fine. It looks like a mole here, which is kind of funny, but I'm never gonna hate on a creature, on a 4-mana 4/4 with haste that has innate protection. Reasonable. Branch of Vitu-Ghazi. So Vitu-Ghazi, if I recall correctly, got royally fucked during the Phyrexian invasion, because it fought, if I recall correctly, it fought during War of the Spark, and then it fought again during the Phyrexian invasion. So I think we just have a little bit of branchy here. When Branch of Vitu-Ghazi is turn face up, add 2 mana of any one color until end of turn. You don't lose this mana as steps and ends phase. Okay, that's okay. So the card's good in a top deck situation because you're able to play it as a creature if you already have too many lands. It's not good at producing. Oh, actually, no, it actually is fine. It's fine filtering because it costs 3 for the disguise, but as long as you've played it, like, as long as it doesn't have Summoning Sickness, it can tap that turn if you haven't attacked with it. So it is fine for filtering. Like, you get the same amount of mana that you initially put in. Tap 3 of your lands. Flip this. Get 2 mana. Yeah. Yeah, so you can have this be some mana fixing. I think it's fine. Yeah, cost 3, adds 2, but taps for 1. Yeah. It's fine. This is similar to Zoetic Cavern. Zoetic Cavern, obviously, still very different, but yeah, it's fine. Morph land, sure. I'm gonna continue. If I can think of a card that's similar to a card that we have, I'm gonna try to remember it because I think it's fun to make comparisons. Dude, it's Scrub McGuff? Is it Scrub McGuff? It's Scruff McGuff. It's okay, Scruff McGuff. Alright, whatever. Most of y'all probably don't fucking know what that is. Anyway. 4-mana sorcery as additional cost to cast a spell. You may collect evidence 6. This spell costs 2 less to cast if evidence was collected. Okay. Target creature you control gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you can control. Alright. So I'm not sure if Wizards is doing it purposefully, but it does seem like Bite. Bite is the my creature just deals damage to thing. Fight is we hit each other. So you can make this cost 2 by using 6. Ugh. I mean, it's probably good. Like, it's probably good and limited. I still don't like it. It's such. Yeah, I obviously I have to play with these cards first, right? I haven't played much with Delve in the first place, so I don't know the that kind of base level of what cost for Delve is too high. And in this situation, right, so this is slightly different than the tutor card, insofar as this card costs 4, like its mana value is 4. So if you do collect the evidence, right, you make this cost you make this cost 2 less. Right, so you're only using 2 mana, but like it has 4 mana, so it's like I mean, on any self-mill deck. My thing about evidence in a self-mill deck is it only works in very specific self-mill decks, right? Like this card, for example, wouldn't work in a self-mill deck. The tutor would, because the tutor you could use to get like Laboratory Maniac or Thassa's Oracle, right? You could get those cards where all you're doing is trying to go through your deck as fast as possible. But a lot of times, the self-mill strategies will involve utilizing your graveyard for value, right? And so when you can't utilize your graveyard for value because you're exiling things, it makes it worse in, you know, greater numbers. So I'm curious to see how these things are balanced. The fact that this can cost less if you need it to, but it still is worth more, relatively speaking, like it's fine. Then we sort of looked at this case. When this enters the battlefield, investigate. To solve, you control 3 or more artifacts. Okay. These cards are self-sabotaging. Yeah, I was saying that they parasitize themselves just like Delve cards do. So I'm interested in seeing how they're doing the thing. Cards that care about things leaving the graveyard. All right. You control 3 or more artifacts. This is pretty easy to solve. Has to be on your end step. I think I'd like it being on end step because it means if you already have like the artifacts you need, you get it immediately. Like you don't have to wait to upkeep. I think that's fine. If it solves, you can pay 3 and sacrifice this case, put 4 1/1 counters on target non-creature artifact. It becomes a 0/0 bird creature with flying. Oh, this is an uncommon. Interesting. It gives you a clue. It's in the blue colors. Blue white or blue black cares about clues. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a limited card, does what a limited need to do. Case of the Pilfered Proof. Someone broke into the evidence locker. Whenever a detective enters the battlefield under your control, and whenever a detective you control is turned face up, put a 1/1 counter on it. Okay. I assume blue-white is detective thing. To solve, you control 3 more or more detectives. Okay. We're seeing something similar on these first 2 cases. Solve. If 1 or more tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a clue token are created instead. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it buffs your detectives, so if you want to do that in limited, you're drafting a lot of detectives. I assume that detectives will care about clues. Sure. Sure. You have to make more clues. That's fine. It's fine. It's limited. It's whatevs. Case of the Ransack Lab. All right, this one is a rare. Let's see how this is different. 3 mana. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay. We've seen similar cards like this. The main one I'm thinking of is a 5 mana card that makes all instant and sorceries cost 2 less to cast, but that includes both players. I feel like there is a 3 mana enchantment that does essentially this, but I don't recall. To solve, you've cast 4 more instant and sorcery spells this turn. Then when it's solved, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, draw a card. I think this is still too slow for a deck like Phoenix. Sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So this deck requires a bunch of instant sorceries in general, because you need to cast 4 of them in the same turn. They would need to be proactive instants and sorceries, so you wouldn't be running very much counter magic, because it's during your end step, not each end step. And you still need to be able to not die. I don't know what deck this will go into. I mean, obviously, like, cool commander, this is great. I think this is actually pretty bad in limited. Unless you're going hard, I legit don't know. But I can't think of, and for what it's worth, like, maybe it's good enough in standard, but my context, the only context I'm able to really give any type of commentary on is limited commander, and then like the Eternal formats. And I don't even mention the true Eternals, unless I think a card is particularly good. So, maybe this is fine in standard. Maybe if you get super lucky in sealed or are very greedy in draft, like casting, holding 4 or more instant sorceries casting them in one turn, and then still having a sufficient number of instant sorcery spells in your deck, in a limited deck, for the solved part to be worth it, I think is like, eh. This seems decent for a control deck. Just make your counter spells cost 1 less and replace themselves. Right, but the issue with that, right, is that you still have to be in a situation where you can cast 4 or more instant sorceries in a single turn, and it has to be your turn. Like, that's the big potential issue, right? But, you know, maybe it's fine. I get, like, one of the things, right, is, like, if you're a control deck, you don't play this on turn 3 unless your opponent is doing, like, absolute nothing. And even then, usually you're going to want to hold up a counter magic for turn 3, right? You can cast them on your opponent's turn, and it flips on your end step. No. That's not how that works, Query. It has to be during your turn, because this only works on your end step. This would only work on your turn. Oh yeah, we got these surveil lands. They're interesting. This is part of an A, and this is part of a 3. Good old ARG. So we have another land cycle with basic land types. There's always enter tapped, but you do get to surveil. It's similar to the temples, although the temples only scry. They don't get to surveil. These can be fetched. The temples can't. These feel generally just like better temples. And even then, these should be uncommons. Like, I mean, I get why they're rares. Like, Wizards has essentially made a tradition of them being rares, but like, when you look at this, and then you look at shocks, and then you look at triomes, I don't know. The triomes and the shocks feel like they're in a different league than this, and the temples, but yeah. Well, of course, pre-order cost is relatively high, so we'll see. Usually that'll come down, but convenient target. Hey, it's a story spotlight. Hey, it's Rakdos. Judith, what are you doing with Rakdos? Single red enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, suspect enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. 3 mana, return convenient target from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. So this is one of those. This is one of those cards where you want to suspect your own creatures, to essentially get the menace, right? Like this feels very similar to It's fucking cackling something. No, it's not cackling something. No, it was not Riot. What the fuck am I thinking? It's Unleash. I got there. I was specifically thinking of this guy. Oh, it's Rakdos Cackler, not Cackling thing. All right. It's very similar to Unleash, insofar as it can't block and it gets offensively stronger. This is nice because you can recur it. Yeah, I mean, it seems reasonable. Yeah, no, I mean, it legit just seems reasonable. This card seems actually fine. Okay, this is kind of adorable. A Crime Novelist, 3-mana Goblin Bard. Whenever you sack an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Crime Novelist and add... Excuse me, what? and add a red into 1/3. Whenever you attack an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on this and add a red. Yeah, this seems gross. You can do something with this shit. I don't know what yet, but you can do some bullshit here. And that's cool. Obviously it's reminiscent of Bergie from Kaldheim. Crime Stopper Sprite is going into my Ganax Dragons. What is a Ganax? Ah, treasure guy. Gotcha. Maps that pay for themselves? Kinda. 3 mana 2/2 flyer. So it's a Windrake. It's a Windrake with set mechanic. It's a fairy, which might matter. At additional cost to cast a spell, you may collect evidence 6. When it enters the battlefield, tap target creature. If evidence was collected, put a stun counter on it. Okay, so you always get to tap the creature, and then you get to put a stun counter on it if you have the ability to. Yeah, I mean, look, this card is Windrake with upside. If you're playing limited, this card is probably Gangbusters. Like, you just get to fucking something to note is that you have to tap a creature. The reason that's important to note is because of the disguise mechanic. So if you're not able to pay the ward cost, it has to tap itself. Which may not actually matter if you don't stun yourself, but it is a thing that could matter. Yeah, in general, I like it. Deadly Complication. Well, spoiler alert. Appears someone has died. 3 mana sorcery, choose one or both. Destroy target creature, put a 1/1 counter on target suspected creature you control. You may have it become no longer suspected. Tasta's security was unrivaled. Itrata was locked up. Kaya was left with nothing but multiplying questions and a dead friend. Oh, she was friends? They were friends? I thought they didn't like each other. Well, I was wrong. I mean, the thing, right, is that Kaya... not Kaya, sorry. Teysa is a member of the Orzhov. You know, the people who become ghosts. So I feel like this shouldn't really be an issue for Teysa. But, as an actual card, though, it can only target suspected creatures you control. It is just destroy a creature. I mean, this is fantastic limited removal. Like, this actually is insane limited removal. She killed her shitty family. Fair. Actually fair. Yeah, I mean, it's sorcery speed, which is not great, but still, like, the cost for this is really nice. It has a little bit of upside for limited stuff. Yeah, reasonable. It's a dog walker. It's a human citizen. Alright. Dog walker is a Boros 2 mana 3/1 with vigilance and disguise for Boros hybrid. I could have just said double Boros hybrid. When it's turn face up, create 2 tapped 1/1 white dog creature tokens. This is a fucking weird card. I mean, if you're trying to get tokens, sure. If you have things that care about things being flip face up, sure. I don't necessarily understand the point of a 3/1 with vigilance. Like, I guess the main reason I don't necessarily get it, 2 mana 2/2 is on rate. Right, but this is a 3/1. And that's legitimately different. Like, the difference between a 4 mana 4/4 and a 4 mana 5/3, I don't think is as big as the difference between a 2 mana 2/2 and a 2 mana 3/1. Because this dice do everything. But yeah, it's kind of weird that it has vigilance. Because, like, if they have a creature you want to block with it, you're probably not going to attack. I don't know. If you disguise it and flip it, you get the extra 2 bodies. Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah. At that point, though, it's 5 mana for 2 1/1s and a 3/1 with vigilance. But it's a limited card. It's fine. This is the red-white version of the new crime scenes. That's what we call them. Not the same artist, but very much like a before and after pick. Yeah, it's fine. Etrata, Deadly Fugitive. Etrata, anime character. 3 mana, 1/4, Vampire Assassin with Death Touch. Face down creatures you control have 2 blue-black. Turn this creature face up. If you can't, what the fuck? Turn this creature face up. If you can't, exile it. Then you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost. That's pretty fucking cool. Whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to an opponent, cloak the top card of that player's library. This is actually pretty dope. So one of the reasons that this is dope, obviously, is an issue with things like Manifest and Cloak is that sometimes you don't get creatures, right? Sometimes you get instants, sorceries, enchantments, etc. And with this, you can pay a reasonable rate, to be honest, and just be like, oh, by the way, I'm casting this stupid fucking card. It feels very Yuriko coded to me. Feels very Yuriko coded, insofar as like you can get weird value, like really weird value, by playing like very big expensive things. Face down creatures, yeah. Yeah. So all of your cloaked things, all of the face down 2/2s with ward, all of the creatures who have been disguised, they are creatures. So if you have a face down creature that's a planeswalker, for example, you can pay 4, flip, or I guess you exile it, right? No, yeah, you turn it face up. But if you can't, you exile it and you're like, okay, I get to cast this planeswalker for free, right? Like that is something that's very interesting. This is why I don't like Morph. I mean, the thing is, like, the element of surprise is fun, in my opinion. Like, that's the coolest thing about Morph, is the, ooh, what could it be? It's very much like trap cards, both Yu-Gi-Oh version as well as the traps from Zendikar. Except in Yu-Gi-Oh, sometimes your trap cards are useless, and the Zendikar traps, there were like 2 that are playable. So, she's cool. I think it's a really interesting thing to build around. Another kind of like Mr. Steal Your Deck style card, insofar as like you can be taking things from your opponent's library. Yeah, it's cool. Notably, yeah, it does work nicely with Missy. I'll bring her up in a second. The act of flipping a card, using its own morph ability, doesn't use the stack. This uses the stack. So that is a weakness of using that. But if creature dies, return the battlefield under your control, face down, and then you'd be like, oh, by the way, turn that shit face up. Dope. The fact they have ward is also nice. I mean, I guess. Expose the culprit. Story spotlight. I don't know which way this magic is going. Is she actually in green or is she actually in black? Whatever. 2-minute instant. Okay, I'm assuming she's in black then. Fucking. Turn target face down creature face up. Alright. Exile any number of face up creatures you control with disguise in a face down. God. Exile any number of face up creatures you control with disguise in a face down pile. Shuffle that pile, then cloak them. Okay. Oh, it's a Trotta. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. This card's fine. Yu-Gi-Oh! Magical Hats. Oh, yeah, pretty much. Extract a Confession. That's a cute Gorgon. 2-mana sorcery. Oh, it's Altered Reap with set mechanic. Oh, never mind. I thought this was sacrifice. Whatever. An additional cost to cast a spell, you may collect evidence 6. These fucking numbers have only been high so far. Very fun. You can do both, so you can get a flip effect, then turn it back over immediately. Yeah. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If evidence was collected, instead, each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. Oh, this is Edict with set mechanic. For what? It's sorcery. The reason it's bad is not actually because of the whole evidence thing and making it only be whatever. It's because it's sorcery. That's why this card's bad. In limited, it's possibly fine, but depends on how many like small creature tokens running around. Soul Shatter, but cheaper. Soul Shatter can hit planeswalkers, and it's an instant, which is the most important thing. Like the reason this is bad is entirely because of sorcery. Like in general, right, having them just sacrifice a creature is fine in a non-limited situation. Because if you're playing a card like this, you're more likely to know that it's accommodated in the metagame or it's a specific thing. Collecting the evidence here is probably fine in a deck like this, and my reasoning for saying it here is because you're probably going to be playing some sort of control deck with this where you're specifically just like casting a bunch of removal. And so in the course of the game of casting your removal, you're getting more nonsense into your library or your graveyard anyway. So then you can make it a little bit better. But yeah, the reason this is bad is because of sorcery. Gadget Technician. It's a 4-mana 3/2 Gabo. When it enters the battlefield or is turn faced up, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Jesus. Interesting. So its disguise cost is double hybrid, is it? And my guess is the reason why this is like, I mean, this is a common, right? This is meant to kind of show players how to use a mechanic like this, right? Because you will always get the 1/1 Thopter. So some people might not understand what's the point of ever disguising it, because it'll cost more mana, like it costs 5. The reason, one, is because it has ward. That is a non-zero thing. You're losing 1 power, plus you don't get the immediacy of the Thopter token, but you're losing that 1 power for a little bit more protection on your creature. And then, the fact that it costs hybrid, right, means that you can be splashing this very easily. 3 + 2 is greater than 4. Is less than 4. Did I say less? I meant more. Unless you're explaining that in many situations, paying a cost of 3 and then paying a cost of 2 is sometimes less than the cost of 4. No, I mean less. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like, this is reasonable, like, in a limited environment, right? Like, let's say you're playing a Boros deck, right? You can use this in a Boros deck, even if you have no, like, blue producing lands, right? You can also cast it earlier and choose when to flip it since it's an instant ability. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's reasonable. Felonious Rage. Hilarious. Single red instant, target creature you control gets +2/+0 and gains haste. When that creature dies this turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. It's hard to keep the beast if you can't even control your temper. Oh, it's a Boros Legionary. Fucking hilarious. When that creature dies this turn. That's kind of funny. You can flip out a Fatal Push range. That's true, but if your opponent is paying 3 mana for a Fatal Push on a random 2/2, they're in a bad situation anyway, I think. This is hilarious though. So in Black, we've seen, like, when thing dies, put it back in your hand, get it back on the battlefield, whatever, right? When that shit dies, you get something out of it, but it's gonna die. No, and this is interesting. Yeah, you can kind of attack with more impunity. You can also use this defensively, which is dope. Like, if you have a 2/2, right, you can trade up to a 4th toughness creature, and then you essentially get to keep that 2/2, right? So, I push the gobble off a building, and it pulls out a Thopter. Galvanize. I guess I'm thinking of Galvanic Bolt. I definitely thought this was the name of a card already. 2 mana red instant. Galvanize deals 3 damage to target creature. If you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Galvanize deals 5 damage to that creature instead. It only hits creatures. It's garbage. No, I mean, this is, was it Incinerate? Is Incinerate the one that can only hit creatures? No. Flame? Whatever. This is 2 mana, deal 3 to a creature with set mechanic, alright? Shut up. It's whatever. It's fine. Kill Shield Dread. If you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. So obviously, like, it's more likely that, like, this card is incentivizing you to essentially play it on your turn because it's easier for you to draw 2 cards during your turn than someone else's turn because you have your draw per turn, and then you only need to draw 1 card. You know, yada yada yada. I will say this does work with the blue card, the case. Because you'll cast it, that trigger will go on the stack, you'll draw a 2nd card, and then when this goes to resolve, it'll deal the 5 damage. So that's cool. Cool Goblin. Yeah, it's fine. This is the Simic version of the crime scene. Hey look, it's an X and a 5. Ever since that was pointed out to me, I like actively don't like these arts. Unless these are like superimposed and they're going to be removed. But like as they are now, I actively dislike. I mean, cracking a clue or any draw 2 discard. That's true. But ew, who cracks clues? I crack corn. But yeah, no, I actively dislike these arts because of this stuff. If these have been like put into the image and will be taken out, cool. Otherwise, these are better. In my opinion, the base arts are better. It just doesn't add up. What the fuck? Okay. Latrada murdering, not Venifar, Zagana. Okay. 5 mana. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, suspect it. Huh. It's an instant. Okay. The fact that it's instant is... Oh, right, it can't block. That's why they can make it instant. Atrada claims she has no memory of committing the murder. Somehow, I believe she's telling the truth. I mean, look at her eyes, man. She didn't mean to do it. Yeah, no, it's an instant. I mean, in limited, I think this card is just pretty reasonable. It can only hit your own creatures, which is whatever. You suspect them, so they do get stronger offensively, so it'll be a little bit easier for you to close out the game. Obviously, it's not good defensively because it's suspected, which means you can't block. It's fine. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's going to be played in, like, standard. But it's fine. Izoni, Center of the Web. Nah, I prefer the other one. Yeah. 6 mana, 5/4, Elf Detective with Menace. When she enters the battlefield or attacks, you may collect evidence 4. Okay. If you do, create 2 2/1 black and green spider creature tokens with Menace and Reach. Sacrifice 4 total tokens, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards. You gain 2 life. This card's actually pretty dope. The reason I like her a lot is Evidence 4 is not a ton compared to the other shit that we've got. What's the new Capetta one? I do not recall. She has Menace, which is dope. She makes Menace creatures, which is dope. They have Reach, which is dope. You sack 4 tokens, which is like, eh. He has bad brain, please understand. Look, there's too many, man. How many things create tokens on death? Well, notably, you can definitely go infinite. The issue is that You have to specifically sack tokens, though. What the fuck art is this? Okay. No, wait, oh, okay, yeah. I'm like, this is a sorcery. What are you talking about? Still, I think she's good. Sacrificing some tokens to first of all, the surveil, right, feeds into her thing. She has menace, so she's a little bit more fine attacking to get her trigger. When she attacks, you get 4 power of replacement blockers. Only 2 toughness, so you know trample can be an issue, but you get to gain life, so you also are fine being aggressive in that situation. You get to draw 2 cards. Again, you can just put more stuff in your yard for the evidence 4. Again, evidence 4 does not feel that much compared to the other things we've seen. Overall, I like this card. I just like the design of this card. I think it's cool. It's cool stuff. Judith, Carnage Connoisseur. Crazy beach. Like, I really like this art. Yeah, I really like this art. It's cool. 5 mana, 3/4 Rakdos Human Shaman. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, choose 1. That spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink. Swag. Create a 2/2 red imp creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. That is interesting, because that's fucking huge. So typically we'll see, let's see, burn house. Yeah. So typically we'll see these devils that are 1/1s and deal 1 damage to any target. Notably, you can't deal damage to non-players, but it will always deal 2 damage to everyone, all of your haters, and you get some dope 2/2 imps instead of 1/1s. Oh look, Rakdos getting more crazy toys. WotC doesn't have a favorite color at all. I do not think this is a crazy card, to be honest. I think very similar to Izona, whatever, Spider Queen. I think this is probably fine in terms of power level. I do love that it makes your ping cards have Death Touch and Lifelink. You can all there shouldn't be a reason why you can't give trample to an instant. You just have to make the caveat that it will always target the trample damage will always go to the player's face. Or I guess you could theoretically just make it choose defending player or planeswalker they control, but 5 mana 3/4. I like her because she's a spell slinger, but for Rakdos. I think that's cool. What's the Tauros? Oh, I thought he would have the H. Creature players excess damage. Right, it's similar, but yeah. Too bad she's ultra dead. Yeah, well, get fucked. Shouldn't have died. Kaya, Spirit's Justice. I do not like this art. I do not like what they did with her eyebrows. Anyway, 4 mana, legendary planeswalker, Kaya. Starts with 3 loyalty. Whenever one or more creatures you control and or creature cards in your graveyard are put in exile, you may choose a creature card from among them. Until end of turn, target token you control becomes a copy of it, except it has flying. Okay. Whenever one or more creatures you control are put in exile, you may choose a creature card from among them. Until end of turn, target token you control. So you have to use a token. Interesting. +2. Surveil 2. Then exile a card from a graveyard. From a graveyard, so you can exile some other card. Notably, you can only get value from your creatures. +1. Create a 1/1 black and white spirit with flying. -2. Exile target creature you control for each other player. Exile up to 1 target creature that player. Holy shit. Okay, I wasn't very impressed by the first two, but that last ability seems pretty reasonable. Because you can use it immediately when it comes down. Like, you just get rid of a dinky token that you have, and then just yeet the best things that your opponents have, and you still have the Planeswalker. Oh, it is any token. All right, you can turn one of your clues that are lying around into a creature. Okay, sure. That's reasonable. She's fine. Yeah, I don't think she's, like, nuts, but that's a good thing. The fact that she's not nuts, or at least I don't think she's nuts, I think is a good thing. You're moving away from general ultimates. Yeah, like game-winning ultimates, yeah. That's what it seems like. Kellen? I don't know why I don't like it, but I don't like it. Kellen, Inquisitive Prodigy. 4 mana, 3/4. Human Fairy Detective with Flying and Vigilance. When it attacks, destroy up to one target artifact. If you control that permanent, draw a card. You can blow up your own clues to draw for essentially free. Blinking my Sun Titan to turn a 1/1 into a Flying Sun Titan. Lol. 4 mana, 3/4, flying thingy. Kellen's my favorite 16-year-old, 40-year-old. How old is Kellen? Like, canonically. He has an adventure, as he always will, I think. Investigate. Oh, right, it's green and a blue. Investigate. You may play an additional land this turn. Interesting. X years old? Okay. Okay, so this is bad growth spiral. 5 years for each plane he's visited? Wait, seriously? Son of Oko. Oh, you son of a bitch. I hate you. For his age. Well, how old is he? Oh, shit. Yeah, he's a teenager. Huh. What a loser. It's fine. Yeah, it's I don't care. I just do not care about Simic cards for the most part. Oh my god, it's a knife. That just... It's a good looking knife. It's just fucking... It looks weird. I don't know why, but the name, the top part looks fucking weird because there's so much space there. Anyway, it's a single red artifact clue equipment. As long as it's your turn, equip creature gets +1/+0 and has first strike. It's aggressive, interesting. 2, sacrifice the knife, draw a card. It's the clue stuff, and then you pay 2 to equip it. This is limited card. What you have there? A knife. Oh. I like Pipe personally. Pipe is good. Crawl Whipcracker. Interesting. I think I like this version better. I love that they're respecting the crawl still. It's a black-green insect assassin. It's a 3/2 with reach. When there's the battlefield, destroy target token and opponent controls. Get fucked. It's fine. I mean, 2 mana 3/2 with reach. That's kind of what we expect out of the crawls. They usually also destroy a thing. This destroys specifically a token. It can be a big clone token, or it can just be a fucking clue token, right? So do not approach, stay a safe distance away, and then take 5 more steps back. That's pretty funny. Sir, we could try to cite him for mishandling evidence, but I'm not sure he technically has hands. The fuck do you call these? Yeah, car's fine. It reminds me of a crawl harpoonist? Harpooner. Does a thing, enters, like it's 2 mana 3/2 with reach, does a thing, kills a flying creature. Or technically deals damage to a flying creature, but same thing. Krenko, Baron of Tin Street. It's a 3 mana, 3/3 Gabo with haste. I prefer the normal art for this one too. Tap it, sack an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on each Gabo you control. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay a red. If you do, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains haste. So all you need to do is either have a way to make all of your goblins artifacts, or have a way that when you get a goblin, you can also get an artifact. Is there an easy way to do that in red? Oh, right, you can't untap this. Never mind. So it's a slow infinite, very similar to Thopter Sword combo. Yeah, I mean you could have like Intruder Alarm, but Intruder Alarm breaks with everything. The fuck is this thing called? No. Still, I think it's a cool card. Yeah, that's generally, I think Krenko is cool. So 3 mana 3/3, so even if you don't have like other Gabos, you get to just attack with this sack and artifact. Cool. Yeah. Just chilling. Bing chilling. Kylox, Visionary Inventor. Okay. My man's is fucking hogging out of his mind. 7 mana, Jesus. Is it 4/4? Viashino Artificer with Menace, War 2, and Haste. When it attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures, then exile the top X card of your library, where X is their total power. You may cast any number of instant and or sorcery spells from among the exiled cards without paying their mana costs. I don't like this card. It has Menace, which is good, because it'll be harder for your opponent to just like kill it randomly. It has Ward, which is good, so it'll be harder for them to kill it randomly. It has Haste, which is kind of... I guess it's fine because you're casting it without, but like you're not gonna have like any fucking mana. Like it wants you to be playing. It wants you to be playing creatures with actual mana value. Wait, no, it doesn't. It's power. I guess you could have it in a deck where you're making... The issue is that green-white usually is the color of having token producers that are undercosted compared to their stats. But yeah, I don't necessarily get this card. Spells, I mean, yeah, spells that make tokens. Young Pyromancer, it's fine, but the thing is, this costs 7. Like that's the main issue. Like by the time I'm paying 7 mana in my Spellslinger deck, I want my opponent to just be fucking dead because I've cast so many spells. The card just seems so fucking strange. And then for what it's worth, you also just lose the rest of the cards. Like they don't get put in your yard. They don't get put on the bottom of the library. It's just kind of strange. I don't know. I don't like this card. This card, Play it with, say, Alrund's Epiphany, sack the birds, and use it to cast 2 more extra turns, rinse and repeat. It's the... what? How would you get more turns? It's based on their power. Like, Epiphany doesn't matter here. You cast 2 more Epiphanies. I'm very confused though. Where are you getting the rest? Where are you getting this fucking free mana and shit? Like, one, he can't sack himself, which is trash. And it's based on their power, so you can't just use dinky tokens. I don't know. Card seems bad. Like, if you're playing a token strategy, just play essentially like a transmogrify token strategy. Like, I feel like that's just better if you're playing this color. I mean, kind of, but like at that point, just play an aggressive deck that buffs your creatures. Like, that's my main issue with the card. It's just like it feels like it doesn't slot in like anywhere. That's my main issue, I think. The Long Goodbye. 2 mana, black instant. The spell can't be countered. Destroy target creature planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. Did I misunderstand the card? I misunderstood the card. I thought it was one of those shitty cards where you exile the top X and you get to cast up to the value of X. So I did misread this card. So I understand it a little bit better now. It's better. I still think it's bad. This is... what the fuck? This is just a card, but better. Eliminate. Yeah. This is just eliminate. Same rarity. Same effect. Hero's Downfall kills anything. Like, Hero's Downfall just doesn't care. It'll just kill a creature or planeswalker. This specifies mana value 3 or less. Which does genuinely matter. Oh, Shark Typhoon? Yeah, but at that point, just play Shark Typhoon in, like, a control deck. The utility of it not being counterable is good in sideboards against blue tempo strategies. Metallurgic Summonings. Oh, that works too, yeah. So if you're playing in a format like Timeless, where you're going against a deck that's playing Delver and counter spells, then like you can bring this in against that strategy if it's very prevalent. Otherwise, it's relatively limited. I did forget about that. It literally says it on the card. It literally says it on the card for dumbasses like me. Yeah, fuck tempo. Wizards knows their base. They were smart to put that there. Because dumbasses like me will absolutely forget that. Yeah, it's fine. Oh wait, yeah, like the idea is that this just kills every disguised creature. Locked-on Eavesdropper. I was about to say I love this art, and I was like, oh, who's it by? It's fucking Jess Reishing, which is a great artist. 4-3/3. Elephant Detective, green. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, this gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and has vigilance until end of turn. I could have said that better. I mean, you know, it's a limited clue card, I suppose. Can be a 4/4 with vigilance for the turn. It's fine. It's legit. Just looked fine. Was it Hill Giant with upside? Right? It's Hill Giant? Yeah, Hill Giant with upside. This is the green-white crime scene. This one doesn't feel as bad. Like this ARG portion doesn't feel as intrusive. But it still looks like it's out of place. Like it still looks like it shouldn't be there. Yeah, it's fine. Market Watch Phantom. 2 mana, 2/2, white Spirit Detective. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, Market Watch Phantom gains flying until end of turn. This is a pretty good card. It costs 2, so it's very clear this can go into a morph deck, right? So it plays on turn 2, turn 3, you disguise a creature, or whatever. You put a morph into play. My main issue is that they're all called different shit. You put a fucking morphed creature into play. And since their power is always going to be 2, asterisk, you get to hit for 2 with flying. It's fine. It's a grizzly bear with upside. It's cool. I like it. Perfect card for 2 mana tribal. Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, there are a bunch of other just like good, like generally valuable things that have 2 power. So I think like this is a really reasonable limited card. Like the fairy, for example, I think would be a decent card to put in here. Remember there was a limited card that was so good enough to see regular play in Capenna. You think the elephant can be like that? Oh, okay. Yeah. Peut-être. Massacre Girl. Known killer. A lot of people are upset at her art. I think they're nuts. I think this is great. They don't like the Joker smile. She's Rakdos. They're clowns. Like, that's what they do. I mean, it kind of looked like she already has that a little bit. Alright, this art is actually fucking dope. This art is actually fucking dope. I'm not gonna lie to you. I weeb for this, man. Fuck, this one's good too. Want to know how I got these scars of Mirrodin? What do they think her face paint was? Yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously it's different, right? Like, it's essentially like inverted here. Yeah, like that's essentially it. Yeah, so it was more Scully in the previous one, and this one's just more fucking just the teethy part. It's dope. Anyway, 4 mana, 4/4, human assassin with menace. Creatures you control have wither. Oh. Oh. The Scorpion God thanks you. The Hapatra thanks you. Oh, I'm so glad they're giving me some fucking negative counters. Wizards, please. I will take more of this. Even if it's just random. Even if it's legit just random shit that has negative counters. Please. Please, Wizards, I need this. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. If they died because their shit was fucking rocked. That's dope. Did I do it? You'll have to be more specific. Fantastic. No, I love this card. Meat Hook with this Babe in Play. Oh! Oh! Hell yeah, dude. Meat Hook X equals 3. Just fucking kill a lot of shit. Yeah, no, this is dope. It works, as I said, it works nicely with Scorpion God. Scorp God gives you fuck. You draw a card for it just having a negative counter, so you're always going to get that card. But if it dies not because of damage, but because power, you get the thing. She works nicely with herself. I mean, yeah. Giving all of your creatures Wither is dope. Yeah, she's dope. I love this. Now, query, if you wanted to complain about black in general getting strong cards, I can't disagree. Melik. She probably killed herself. Okay. Melik Reforged Researcher. Was Dragon Space the last time we had Melik? Yup. Also, I didn't know he fucking died in Dragon Space. Anyway, it's a 5 mana star weird detective. Is it? Melik Research. Whatever. Dude's power and toughness are each equal to twice the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn costs 3 less to cast. Okay. Okay. So, this card... I'm going to click on the artist here. I feel like this artist illustrated a 3 mana red Boros card from Strixhaven. Like, that's just the vibe I'm getting from the start, and I want to see if I'm right. I will say that this card is reasonable. I'm inclined to agree. Not sure if it's a good something, but he sure is something. 5 mana, I think, is like right at the point where I think this kind of effect, like 5 mana is the cap. If this were 6 mana, even if it was like a little stronger, I think it'd be because you're getting this reduction, but instead of getting the reduction essentially on your lower CMC cards, like this one wants you to be casting those big CMC cards, and you're fine with casting those big CMC cards. Yeah. Cost 3 less to cast. Yeah, I think it's fine. Did he make the card I'm thinking of? No, dang. I was wrong. This is the Azorius crime scene. Damn. I was gonna say this is fine, but this might be one of the... No, this is a 2. But this one looks fine. Like, this one just looks more natural. There's fucking 3 here, man. Yeah, it's fine. Night Drinker Mororai. Ah. Say Ravnica specific vampire, I guess. Is under city... I don't remember what it was called. Fuck, was it not under city? Shit. Let's go advanced, shall we? It is a vampire. It is mana cost blue, black. Oh, I'm stupid. It's blue, black. Dumbass. The thing is, it doesn't look like a Morari. So I was going to say, because I know on Ravnica there are 2 different types of vampires. There's the ones who suck brain, and there's the one who suck blood. I was just wondering if Nightveil Predator could have elucidated that information. Anyway, it's a 4-mana, 4/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you lose 3 life. Okay, sure. If you need it that turn, or you could pay 3 for it, and then later flip it from its disguise for double black. It doesn't enter the battlefield, so you don't lose 3 life. Sure, it's fine. It's another one of those like learning cards that Wizards will add to commons and uncommons. Like, this kind of shows you, like, hey, sometimes you would rather spend the mana across a couple turns. There are going to be some situations where, like, you need to just play this. You don't have the ability to do something, so it's cool. No More Lies. Interesting. It's a 2-mana Azorius instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Okay, so this is like a mixture of like Mana Leak and Syncopate, or Dissipate, I guess. No, I guess, yeah, well, whatever, yeah. It's any spell, which is nice. You know, you have things like Dovin's Veto, which hit non-creatures. Or I think it might actually be specifically instant sorceries. Soft counters are usually balanced. I'm inclined to agree. The exile is essentially gravy, especially because this has the set mechanic cares about stuff in the yard. So being able to counter their big spell and them not be able to use it later to collect evidence, I think that's good. Make Disappear is the 2-mana instant casualty 1 counter spell. Gotcha. Yeah, I can see that. And I do think that this is the appropriate cost, right? Because Wizards has said pretty frequently, like, Mana Leak is a little too good at 2, but very bad at 3. And they're like, if Mana Leak could cost like 1.5 or 1.25, then that's what they would do. And I think making it cost a white as well does a little bit to balance that. Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, I like it. It's a counterspell that I don't hate. Raucous Theater, good old-fashioned Rakdos crime scene. Z or 2, I don't remember. I think this might be the first one that I prefer the alt version. But the main reason I don't like people in my art, in my land art, because I'm a weirdo. Public Thoroughfare. It's a land. It enters tapped. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you tap an untapped artifact or land you control. And it taps to add 1 mana of any color. So this is functionally the same as something like Rupture's Fire. No, I should say it's essentially the same as Rupture's Fire, but it's not functionally the same. Because with Rupture's Fire, you have to pay a mana. Public Thoroughfare, though. One, there are some lands in like older formats. This is not going to matter because it's not going to see play in older formats. But there's some lands in older formats where you have lands without mana abilities, such as Dark Depths or Tabernacle, I think, is one. Tabernacle might tap for a white. I don't remember. One of the motherfuckers don't tap for a white though. But you can just tap an artifact, which is dope. Especially in a set where, you know, you're making a bunch of clues and shit. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, this is common mana fixing. It's fine. In most situations, it's just going to be Rupture Spire. In some situations, it's going to be a little bit better for you. Yeah, it's reasonable. Cool art as well. I like it. Sanitation Automaton. It's a vacuum cleaner given the suck. For some reason, Scryfall does not have the cost in the upper right. Very strange. Anyway, it's a 2-mana 2/1 artifact construct. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 1. It is a limited card. Scene of the crime. Oh, actual crime scene. Enters the battlefield tapped. Okay, it's a clue. The land is a clue. You tap it to add a colorless. Tap it. Jesus Christ. You tap the land and tap an untapped creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color, and then you can pay 2, sacrifice it, and draw a card. So tapping a creature that you control, very similar to that 1 mana 1/2 elf from, I want to say, Kaldheim, that requires you to tap a thing. What's nice is that... Oh shit, I'm just now realizing it's also an artifact. Thank you for pointing that out. It is by itself an artifact, which is both good and horrible. As an artifact, it gets blown the fuck up by anything that can destroy artifacts. But as an artifact, it counts towards a bunch of different artifact carrying things, which we already saw there are some in this set, and in general in Magic, there are a ton of things that do that. Also, because clues don't require you to tap them to activate them, you can use this as mana, and then, like, if you need to, sack that shit. Yeah, no, it's fine. This dude's art, I've seen this fucking art before. No, this isn't what I was thinking of. Where was it? Motherfucker. Oh, he was the guy. That's so funny. Earlier I was like, I wonder if this was the guy who did this. This is the card I was talking about. And it was this guy. I was like, this looks familiar. Alright, well, I'm not totally insane. Shadowy Backstreet. This is the Orzhov's crime scene. Oh, 4. It was really hard for me to see that. And so, like, now I'm thinking about it, like, when I'm looking at it, right? Now that I know that it's there, does it pop out at me? Because that's the issue with a lot of the other ones, is that the ARG portion pops out at me. The 4 doesn't pop out to me as much. So this is another one where I think the alternate art is fine. I still think I like the regular art. Because it feels more like opulent and Orzhovian. Sumala Sentry is a 2-mana. It's a green and white 1/3 elf archer with reach. Whenever a face down permanent you control is turned face up, but a 1/1 counter on it and a 1/1 counter on Sumala Sentry. So, you know, we've seen similar types of effects like this. The Enraged Brontodon from OG Ixalan, the Centaur who gets a counter whenever something else gets a counter, some shit like that. Face down permanent you control is turned face up. Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable. It makes the creature that you have stronger. It makes itself stronger. Sure. Oh, something that I'm not sure about. Let's just do Zoetic Cavern again. Wait, fucking really? That I did not know. If Blood Moon is on the battlefield and a player controls a face-down Zoetic Cavern, it can't be turned face up since it won't have a morph cost. Seriously? That doesn't seem right. We're taking a slight detour here. That doesn't seem like it should be correct. Anyway, so it's not an activated ability. The reason I was looking is because I was wondering if it worked with Training Grounds. It doesn't, because Morph is flipping something face up doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, it's fine. There's a good limiting card as well, just like, not for nothing. Like, 2-mana 1/3 with reach, blocks the Windrakes. It blocks other, like, opposing morphs as well, but you do need to be careful in those situations because your opponent can flip that shit and kill you. Teysa, Opulent Oligarch. I'll look at her arts in a second. 3 mana, Orzhov, Human Advisor. She's a 2/3 with Death Touch. Literally saw a YouTube video explaining that. The Zoetic Cavern thing. Because I would love to watch that YouTube video. At the beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn. Okay. Whenever a clue you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. This ability triggers only once each turn. Fuck you. Monty, Teysa is like the combo card, man. Stop it. Get some help. Fucking, I'm like legitimately upset about this. Teysa looking good as always. 3 mana 2/3. She reminds me very much of Kambal. 3 mana, I want to say 2/3. That hurts people when they cast non-creature spells. Might just be instant sorceries, but I'm not entirely sure. Also might drain. Don't remember. I could type it in. Don't care. I mean, she can kill shit. The beginning of your end step, investigate for each opponent who lost life this turn. Yeah, it's a creature dying. JK. Yeah. There's literally one bad Teysa, and she's still dope. Okay, let's look at her other arts. That's pretty fucking dope. She's got the puffy sleeves. Drinking some leftover Halo, it looks like. I was about to say some out-of-pocket shit. I'm just gonna say this art's great. Ah! Oh, I could have just... Man, Getsu, you could have fucked me, but it would have been my fault. But theoretically, you could have fucked me there. I need to be more careful. Okay, I will watch that shit later. Yeah, Teysa is still bae. She's... This is the... Is it Crime Scene? This one's also not too bad. I can see the 5, I can see the plus sign, but it doesn't feel too intrusive. I would not post thing you don't like to see. I mean, fair, I would ban the shit out of you, but still. Yeah, it's fine. This doesn't feel very easy to me, to be honest. Tolsimir, Midnight's Light. 5 mana for a 3/2 Simic Elf Scout with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, create Voja Fenstalker, a legendary 5/5 green-white wolf creature token with trample. Whenever a wolf you control attacks, if Tolsimir attack this combat, target creature an opponent controls blocks that wolf this combat if able. Jesus fucking Christ. Tolsimir. Voja has gotten stronger every single time Tolsimir has been in this fucking game. OG one was balanced green-white. Second was more green than white. This one's more white than green. Interesting. Tolsimir's a little bit weaker, though. Did I say Simic? I did mean Selesnya. Oops. Fantastic art. I'm loving this art. It's a 5 mana 3/2 that comes in with a 5/5. That 5/5 has trample. You can force blocks. I mean, it's good. Whenever a wolf you control attacks, this does not trigger once. This is just straight up whenever a wolf you control attacks. That seems like there's some value there. See, alt art looks fine. He doesn't need to not be blocked. Well, the thing, right? He has to attack. But the thing is, if you attack with enough wolves, you just force your opponent to block all of your wolves, and then Tolsmir's fine. She's like, you're blocking my wolves. Eat a dick. Yeah, that's dope. I think it's cool. I very much like this card. That said, I'm very curious. Didn't want just white. Wait. Really? Okay. JK. Apparently there's just not nearly as many wolves in white. Okay. Fuck me, I guess. Pairs with a later card very well. I assume Voja. Tomek. Wielder of Law. Wizards had a promotional thing put out where they called him Azorius. Fucking hilarious. Wizards come on. Anyway. Tomek is a 3-mana Orzhov 2/4 human advisor with affinity for planeswalkers. That is more dogs than wolves, true. Although all wolves would be dogs. But I'm not going to get into that again. Very interesting that they're making an affinity for planeswalkers card, considering... Oh, this is a promo. Okay. Considering they're like limiting how many planeswalkers they print, which I still think is fucking stupid, but whatever. I just don't like that they had Mending 2.0. Like, you can cut back. You can cut back on the number of planeswalkers that exist without having story implications that force planeswalkers to not be planeswalkers anymore. Like, I get, for some situations, like, it actually makes the story a little bit more interesting because of the fact that, you know, you'll have situations like Chandra and Nissa, where one of them can't play... Can both of them not planeswalk? I don't fucking remember. I don't even know where we went last. But at least one of them can't planeswalk anymore, right? So, it does give you some interesting situations like that, but overall, I don't like it. I'll never forgive them for what they did to Teferi. Can he not planeswalk anymore? I also appreciate the design space that comes from Desparked Walkers. Yeah, the thing is, like, another thing is, you can still print legendary creatures that are planeswalkers. Like, you don't have to make the card a planeswalker. You can still have a Teferi non-planeswalker that's just a creature. And Teferi can still be a planeswalker, like in the lore. There's zero reason they can't do that. Let's see, it's the most recent shit here. Innistrad, Crimson Vow, Brothers War, March of the Machine. Teferi Spark Faded. Oh, that's fucking bullshit, man. Teferi and the rest of Zalfir were found and summoned by Ren, who had bonded with Realmbreaker. After Ren swapped Zalfir and Phyrexia places, Teferi led Zalfir in charging the Phyrexians, resulting in the demise of Vorinclex, Jikataxis, and Elishor. In the midst of battle, Teferi searched for the physical form of Ren, who was reduced to an ashen form at the base of Realmbreaker. He retrieved a single acorn from her corpse, and later planted it on a hill in Zalfir, mourning the fact that she had sacrificed everything to lift so much of his burden. He then assisted Karn and Malira in a ritual to uncomplete Ajani and Nissa. In the aftermath of the invasion, his spark faded. I hate you, Wizards. I hate you so fucking much. It's fucking stupid. It pisses me off. Anyway, I should finish talking about this Tomek card. Human Advisor, for what that's worth, Flying in Vigilance. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if two or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalker you control, that opponent loses 3 life and you draw a card. This is a weird version of Ghostly Prison, and I love it. Essentially, it's like, oh, you can attack me. I'm just going to cost you. I love it. It's great. I like that it includes your planeswalkers. It wouldn't make sense if it didn't. Not only are they affected, but you get to draw a card, which is nice. In a 1v1 situation, obviously the 3 life is going to matter more than it would in a commander situation. But still, like, having people lose 3 life just for attacking you, that's sufficient for them to not attack you. And then, like, if they do, you still get to draw a card. So I think it's good. Yeah, it is essentially better Mangara. Flying Vigilance. Mangar does not have flying. He has lifelink, but whatever. He doesn't force them to lose life. Mangar does work with them casting 2 spells, which does matter, right? Because that's a little bit more of a tax, right? Having them not attack you with 2 creatures, right? They can still attack you with 1, but having them not attack you with 2 creatures is a little bit less of an issue than making it so it's annoying for them to cast 2 spells, but I think it's fine. Tristani, 3 Whispers. They look strange here. I don't know why. Anyway, it's a 3-mana Selesnya 4/4, and it's green, Simic Hybrid, white, with 3 abilities. 1 and a green, target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Hybrid Selesnya, target creature gains Vigilance until end of turn. 2 and a white, target creature gains Double Strike until end of turn. Interesting. She can target herself. Very easy to give Vigilance, like very easy to give Vigilance. Double Strike does cost a little bit, but kind of have to make it cost a little bit when you pair it with Death Touch. Neat Political Commander. That is true, because it's not just creature you control. That is kind of cool. It's normal that they look strange. Nah, I disagree. The fact that those abilities are not in order upsets me. Oh, in terms of cost, they had to choose between cost and making it in color order, and they chose color order. And I'm going to agree with you. They chose wrong. They should be in cost order, 100%. Can do funny things to blocks because Death Touch. Yep. Yeah, no. Card is good. It's a 3-mana 4/4. Like if nothing else, it's a 3-mana 4/4. And you love to see those. Yeah, I like it. Okay, this is good art. This is good art right here. Also good art. They just look kind of strange here. I don't know why. Vichugazi Inspector is a 2-mana 1/3 elf detective. Why is so much of this evidence is 6? Of course she doesn't spark any joy. She's not a planeswalker. As this will cost, you can collect evidence 6. When it enters the battlefield... Did I say it has reach? It has reach. I didn't expect that because it's not a fucking archer. When it enters the battlefield, if evidence was collected, put a 1/1 counter on target creature control and you gain 2 life. I guess it makes it not as bad of a top deck late game in limited, right? Because as is, right? Because you can't. The way that you have to look at some of these cards, I think, is kind of like a split style card. Kind of like a modal card actually would be more accurate. Where in the early game, when you don't have 6 evidence to collect, I still think they could have worded that better. Then this is a 2-mana 1/3 with reach. As I said with the Selesnya color version of this, that by itself is going to be good and limited in a set where there are a bunch of 2/2s running around because of the morphing mechanics. It also blocks. As I said, it blocks fucking Windrakes, which is great. And then late game, if you top deck it, right, you get to gain some life. The life doesn't matter all that much, frankly. And it can be a 2/4 instead of a 1/3. Again, it's not the biggest thing, but it can make a difference late game and limited, especially considering it is still just a common, right? Woja, Jaws of the Conclave. Jesus fucking Christ. Woja looked real angry. 5 mana for a Naya, legendary creature wolf, 5/5, with Vigilance, Trample, and Ward 3. We've seen some Ward 2s running around on non-disguised creatures, but this is a Ward 3. When it attacks, put X 1/1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of elves you control, and draw a card for each wolf you control. It's interesting. Other than the artifact, the tree thing from Kaldheim, other than that, I don't think there are any cards in these colors that allow you to make things a specific creature type. Yeah, Masterwork Nexus, thank you. The second ability reminds me of Tolsimir, because you get to draw cards when your wolves and werewolves deal combat damage. Elves like to go wide, so this buffs your elves. This includes, like, you draw a card regardless because it's attacking. And the ducks are good enough. Yeah, true. No, I know it buffs everything, but it counts the number of elves. This might be fun to try as a brawl deck. I mean, having Vigilance, Trample, and Ward 3 is pretty damn dope. And at the very least, like, you're gonna draw a card when you attack with it. That's cool. I think it's cool. Unfortunately, there aren't enough white wolves, is what I'm finding. There are plenty of white elves because of Shadowmoor. No, were the OGs? Yeah, the OGs were green-black. They were cunts. The Shadowmoor ones were the nicer ones. Yes. Okay. Yeah, there are plenty of white elves. Elves. I don't fucking know why I said it like that. Yeah, plenty of white elves. Brawl, aka Commander's younger sibling, that was dropped on the. That's not nice. Yeah, no, I mean it very obviously it works nicely with Tolsimir. War Leader's Call. 3 mana, Boros Enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Okay. We have a 3 mana Anthem effect. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, War Leader's Call deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, interesting. This is very reminiscent of Perforos. There's another red enchantment that does something. Impact Tremors? Trem? Yeah, it's Impact Tremors. Impact Tremors cost 1 less. It's only red, but it doesn't buff your creatures, which is like legitimately good, actually. The reason I'm saying this is like legitimately good is because like one of the things that you like to do with Impact Tremor type effects is play a ton of very small creatures, very frequently like 1/1 tokens, for example. And this is just going to make your tokens better. Yeah, it's cool. It's a rare, which is whatever. Yeah. This art's dope, but it doesn't feel like an enchantment. Like, this feels like Aurelia murdering someone. This feels like an enchantment. It's cool, though. This is the Dimir crime scene. No. Normal looks better. This is the Golgari crime scene. Does not feel very Golgari. Like like this looks more Simic to me. Fucking holy shit. Again, this art, no. Okay, Jesus. A Gorgon smooched me just like James. I love Scryfall's little joke names. This is the single black case. When this card enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target creature that was dealt damage this turn. Okay. To solve, 3 or more creature cards were put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn. Interesting. When it's solved, it becomes a 4/4 Gorgon with Death Touch and Lifelink. That's weird. The first, when the case opens, which is what I'm going to call this. I don't know if Wizards is going to call it that, but that's what they should say. When the case opens, aka when it enters the battlefield. Like, that one doesn't feel like it connects with the rest. Well, I guess they're all kind of disparate. Look like Vraska, though. Yeah, I know. I haven't, like, read the story, but something Phyrexians are involved somehow. It's whatever. But for what it's worth, like this is a fast 4/4 potentially. Like turn 1 this, turn 2 brain yourself. I fucking remember what that goddamn card is called. Just like brain yourself for 10, and almost certainly you're gonna have 3 creatures go in. I want you to kill a bunch of stuff. No, because it has to be your creatures. Gotta be your creatures. But yeah, I mean, you play this on turn 1. You play the fucking memory erased card. Fucking Glimpse. You play Glimpse the Unthinkable. To mill yourself for 10. Almost certainly, because you're making the deck around it, you get sufficient number of creatures. Some of them will trigger and come into the battlefield. This will become solved, and you'll have a 4/4 that can attack on turn 2 with that touch and lifelink. Like, I'm going to try this card in my blue-black dredge deck. Defenestrated Phantasm. Never parlay near high windows. Okay, so it looks like the window behind him is not broken. So my guess is this is the replaced window, and part of the spirit here is the actual glass, which is strange. But I love that it has flying. I fucking love it. It's like, yeah, no, actually, I can fly. You can throw me out the window all you want, whatever. Like, person looks just fucking done. It's like, I don't care. Just like I don't care about that card enough to talk about it. No witnesses, motherfucker. 4 mana, sorcery. Each player who controls the most creatures investigates, then destroy all creatures. Yeah, wait, you can't even defenestrate it. See, if defenestrate instead said destroy target creature if it doesn't have flying, then you could target it. It just wouldn't die. 4 mana board wipe. We've seen something similar with things like Fumigate, Kaya's Wrath, the other 4 mana one that lets a player draw if they have a 4 power creature. I think there's one that cares about having a multicolored creature, perhaps. 4 mana white board wipe with set flavor, yeah. Black ain't allowed good wipes. Yeah, apparently not anymore. Wizards, just give me fucking Damnation back, please. I'm begging for it at this point. Begging you. It's fine. It's... Yeah, I mean, I can't be excited. It's just fucking... Yeah, depopulate, thank you. It's just Wrath of God with, or Day of Judgment with set mechanic. Meh. Watching needs to bring back Split Second. I don't think they do. Sharp-Eyed Rookie. Okay. 2 mana, 2/2, Human Detective with Vigilance and Screen. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, if its power is greater than Sharp-Eyed Rookie's power, or its toughness is greater than Sharp-Eyed Rookie's toughness, put a 1/1 counter on Sharp-Eyed Rookie and investigate. Interesting. Oh, they gave them a more Golgari bend here. I assume. It looks fungusy. Whereas they don't look particularly fungusy here. Interesting. I mean, yes, very similar to Evolve. But it's also giving... What's your fucking name? I don't remember the name. It's a fucking... It's the single green elf who gets bigger when something enters with bigger power. And then once you have like 3 counters on it, or maybe once it has 4 power, it has trample. It's giving that. This lets you investigate, which is kind of good in a deck like that. Because you're going to be vomiting out your creatures, and at some point you may need to draw more cards because you've run out of shit in your hand. It works with this. That's cool. I like it. Homicide Investigator. Yeah, both arts are fine. 2 mana, black 2/2 Human Detective. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control die, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. And this is a rare because... Was the previous card a rare? Okay, never mind. For some reason I thought this wasn't uncommon. Okay, that's whatever. It's fine. I think it's weird that it's rare, but maybe making lose a bunch is real strong. It's fine. To bear with upside. Ah, yes, the basic lands. I guess this is Selesnian? Morbid Opportunist. It's a 3 mana, 1/3 human rogue whenever one or more other creatures dies. This is more of a Midnight Reaper. True. Okay, sure. I assume this is meant to be Selesnian then. It's definitely not as obvious as some of the other basic lands for Ravnica sets have been. This is very obviously Boros. This block construction and obviously the fist. Gonna go on a limb and say that is it. Not a big fan of it. Is Rakdos, and as always, Rakdos does not disappoint when it comes to artistic embellishment. That's easily Azorius. It's fine. It feels like fucking Office Park. This Simic art is pretty cool, actually. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's cool, basically. I want to say this is Golgari, not Dimir. But it's giving very minimum Golgari. Never mind, that was Dimir. This is Golgari. I was about to say we got some good old fashioned skeletons, and we got plenty of gross fungus. There's a Gruul Forest because there's nature. Selesnya. Blood Artist's very large sun. Okay, this alt art is fucking dope. It's a 6 mana, 3 triple black, vampire assassin with flying and ward sack a creature. It's a 6/5. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Very large sun indeed. Notably, if they want to remove this card, they're probably going to fucking get domed because of the fact that they have to sack a creature. It's whenever any creature dies. Notably, this is a 6/5 with flying, so it can actually, you know, kill things. Ward cost makes it impossible to kill without the opponent having creatures. Paying the cost also means getting drained. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's... At 6 mana, it's probably not good enough. I'm a bit disappointed that Lazav is presumed dead. Yeah, fuck him. If Teysa is dying, look, they're dying. People are dying. It's fine. I'm sad. Like, don't get me wrong. But people be dying. Lazav who? Yeah, Lazav who? Are you talking about the mailman? Yeah, card. It costs a lot, so I don't think it's going to be played like fucking anywhere except for an appropriate brawl / commander deck. But and obviously it's a mythic. It's a bomb unlimited. Sure, whatever. Oh, whoops! Apparently I double clicked that shit. Columbo Nimbus. That's a great name, Scryfall. Fucking Columbo Nimbus. Just one more thing. Anyway, this is a 3 mana blue 2/2 weird detective with flying and vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant card, a sorcery card, or a creature card with flying. So this is Windrake with big upside. That has flying and vigilance. No cigar, 0 out of 10 name. It's very funny. It triggers your draw 2 cards effects. You know, it's very reminiscent of Thought. Whatever. There's one for an artifact, there's one for enchantments. You draw fucking 2 cards and you discard 2 unless you... Oh wait, no. Some of them are draw 3 and discard 2 unless you discard a thing. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Fuels evidence. That's true. It does fuel evidence. It's very true. Like, a good card is good. It's very possible I would first pick a card like this. Case of the Stashed Skeleton. This is kind of fucked. Hey, look, it's Baby Jace. It's Puppet Jace. Goes right in blue, white, playing. Yeah. 2 mana case, black. When it enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. So it has menace and can't be blocked. Or can't block. To solve, you control no suspected skeletons. Okay. So your opponent either has to block it, you have to get rid of the sack, or you have to like sacrifice it yourself. Also, he has a lead. The skeleton has a lead pipe. But tonight I'm cleaning out my closet. Anyway, if it's solved, you can pay 2 and sack this case. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Okay, so it's a very delayed demonic tutor. Or a very strange diabolic tutor might be a little bit more accurate. It's fine. Pyrotechnic Performer is a red 2 mana 3/2 Viashino Assassin with disguise of a single red. Whenever it or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Pretty cheap disguise cost. Doming MFs. Yeah, that's cool. I like it. It's also just like a 2 mana 3/2, right? So like, it's still just on rate, pretty reasonable. 1 mana 2/2. No, Puppet King, you're misunderstanding. You play it face down for 3 mana. You turn it face up for the 1 mana. This could be funny with Blightsteel Colossus and some other manifest card. That is true. It could be funny. And I mean, it's also just like a decent on-rate aggressive card. I wouldn't be surprised if it sees play. Buried in the Garden is not a story spotlight. All right. It is a 2 green-white enchantment. Enchant land. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent you don't control until it leaves the battlefield. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 of any color. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's the cards that flip-flop. Yeah, that's true. This is interesting because so it costs more. Like, usually we'll see, like, 3 mana for the effect of, like, enchant a land. Excuse me. Enchant a land. Get a little bit extra mana when you tap it. But this is essentially, like, a land like that. Growing Rights or whatever the fuck. River's Paradise. I don't remember what these goddamn things are. With, like, a Chain to the Rocks type thing attached to it. Notably... It doesn't care about any specific kind of land. You can enchant non-basics if you want. Yeah, it's an O-ring that gives you extra stuff. I would not be surprised if this sees play somewhere, even if it's only limited. I think that's a pretty reasonable card in limited, or 2 in the case of Ossification. Assemble the Players. Story Spotlight. It's a 1 white enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. Once each turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. Notably, you can cast these spells on your opponent's turns, but you still have to deal with normal timing restrictions. So if you have a creature with flash, or you can cast spells as if they had flash, then you can cast on everyone's turn. But in general, you're only going to be casting this like on your turn. All will soon be made clear, but I can give you this. Our killer is here with us in this very room. Ooh. Could it be white card value? It's fine. Yeah. It's chill. It's cool. Culvert Ambusher. Okay. It's a 3 dub green, 4/5 worm horror. When it enters the battlefield or turn face up, target creature blocks this turn if able. And it has a disguise of 4 and a green. So essentially this is like normal on rate. But what's really nice about this is, so if you have a good creature already, you can just cast this, force a block. You get to trade more effectively. But if you don't have other creatures, right, and you have this as a disguised creature, you can flip it up, like you can attack, flip it up, and force a block that way, which is nice. Very heavy outline. Just let the Golgari deal with it, all right. Undercity Eliminator is 3 black. Hey, look, it's a flower. 3 black, Gorgon Assassin, so 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice an artifact or creature. When you do, exile target creature and opponent controls. This seems like a pretty high pick in Limited. There's plenty of artifacts running around. You can sacrifice your skeleton. You just get to exile something. Seems good. With their guild shunned for opening the doors to Phyrexia, some among the Golgari embraced their status as pariahs and took out their bitterness on all who crossed their paths. Get fucked. Magnetic Snuffler is a 5-mana 4/4 construct. When it enters the battlefield, return target equipment card from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach it. Or it comes into the battlefield attached to Magnetic Snuffler. When you sack an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on the Snuffler. It's fine. Motherfucker. Okay. I assume entities are just beasts. Okay, we don't have any. I thought we had an anteater card. I guess I was wrong. Oh well, it's a cool card. Delny Streetwise Lookout. It's a matter of making it worth my while to tell you. Tapir probably. I don't think we have a tapir. Anyway, so 3-mana, 2/2 human scouts, white. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. If an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. This is the couple card with Ghostman. Okay. Oh. Ghostman's also on enter, right? It's enter and attack? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Ghostman attacks, or I guess you play her. You play this creature on 3. You play Delny. You play them on 3, and on 4 you play Agris. It enters. You get 2 triggers. You target both on Agris. One he'll become a suspect. The other he'll be exiled. Oops, wrong direction. Oh wait. Wait, you confused me. Okay, I did not understand. I misread this card when I first saw it. I thought it was a flicker effect. It's just an exile effect. Okay, never mind. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Good removal. Yeah. Yeah. It's reasonable. Thinking about this card in the context of like a Death and Taxes style deck, the 3-drop slot is real cluttered. It doesn't even work really nicely in the humans, like the more human hate bears or even the white wing humans, because those creatures get big really fast. You also don't have too many triggers for those. You know, this works nicely with things like Stoneforge Mystic, maybe some other things that I'm not thinking of right now, but yeah, I mean it's reasonable. Intrude on the Mind. 3 blue, instant. It's a Story Spotlight. That's not supposed to be Jace, is it? Interesting. Anyway, reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying, then put a 1/1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way. Huh, interesting. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library to put them into 2 piles. For what it's worth, I do think that Esper Sentinel would be fine with that card in a version that doesn't grow Esper Sentinel. Because like getting it to exactly like 2 mana, for example, or 2 power, and being able to force them to double pay that is insane. Like you're just going to draw so many cards. This card's interesting. It's fact or fiction, but real good. But the thing is, it also costs 5. Like 5. It's a good old tautology. It's like 5 is different. It's more than 4. The real Chad is making a pile with 5 and 8. I mean, the opponent chooses. Or 5 and 0, sorry. Factor Fission is also an instant. Or FOF, as the oldies call it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. I like the card. I think it's good. I don't think it's, like, busted. It's weird to me that it's mythic, but it's fine. I mean, the more mythics like that we have, the fewer mythics that are like staples we have, so. Fairy Snoop. 1 blue-black for a Fairy Detective. It's a 1/4 with flying and disguise 1 double Demir. When Fairy Snoop is turned face up, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Yeah, it's fine. 1/4, pretty reasonable flyer. Blocks things well, hits things well. You do straight up draw a card, essentially. You're essentially paying 3 additional mana so that you can draw a card, or you look at the top 2 and draw a card. It also fuels your evidence collecting. It's fine. It's good. Probably good common. Shady Informant. 3 black-red for a 4/2 Ogre Rogue. When Shady Informant dies, it deals 2 damage to any target. And it has a disguise for 2 double Rakdos. Rakdos snitches. Rarely survive to get stitches. Well, this guy's fucked. This card's cool because you can, like, trade up with it. He's like, I attack with my 2/2. Are you gonna block with your 3/3 or your X4? Who knows? And you flip it and you're like, haha, get fucked. I'm gonna kill that, and then I'm gonna kill another thing. I'm gonna dome your face. Or for what it's worth, you can get blocked by an X6. Yeah, blocks as an 6X. Yeah. Yeah, no, good comment seems good, like a good comment. Have they changed signpost uncommons to become signpost commons? What the fuck? 6 mana for 4 green white. Fuck. 4 green blue. For a elf crocodile detective. And it's a 5/5. Fucking killer croc looking ass. Deals combat damage to a player. Investigate. Has disguise of 3. Double Simic. 6 mana 5/5 is fine. Being able to keep investigating seems reasonable. For what it's worth, I'm talking about limited here. The disguise is pretty cool. Crocodilf? No. Stop. I'm a little sad that his face isn't a little bit more snouty, but it's whatevs. It's cool. It's fine. It's cool. I don't know if you're saying refuse or refuse. Gearbane Orangutan. 3 mana for a 2/2. Red ape. This is Grey Ogre with upside. Has reach, and when it enters the battlefield, choose 1, destroy up to 1 target artifact, or sack an artifact. If you do, put 2 1/1 counters on this. That's cool. I deny you saying that. Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you have like a random clue or some shit lying around, you can make this a 4/4 with reach for 3. That's like not bad. Or if you need to, you just blow up an artifact. Yeah, I mean, this seems fine. This seems like a really decent limited card. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this also like saw a little bit of sideboard play maybe in standard, depending on what things look like. But it's cool. Private Eye. Okay, JK. This is the signpost uncommon. My man's eye is huge. Fucking homunculi, man. Anyway, Private Eye is 1 white blue for a 3/3 homunculus detective. Other detectives you control get +1/+1. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, target detective can be blocked this turn. Yep, it's a face, all right. Hilarious. It's cool. It's a detective lord. The detectives do things with clues. Clues help you draw your second card every turn. It's reasonable. Yeah, detective lord. It's cool. Good. Unyielding gatekeeper. No, you don't look. You don't even listen to Metallica. Why are you wearing that shirt? Anyway, 2 mana is 1 and a white for a 3/2 elephant cleric with disguise of 1 and a white. When it is turned face up, exile another target non-land permanent. If you controlled it, return it to the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, its controller creates a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. So it's pretty cool because it hits any non-land permanent. Right. It's very Skyclave apparition coded. Feels very much like a Skyclave apparition style card, which is cool. If it's your own thing, you get to like rebuy some value, which is dope. You know, you can reset your or reactivate like your elite spellbinder, for example. You could get another Skyclave apparition trigger. And then, yeah, you can just get rid of whatever the you need. Unless it's a land, of course. And all they get's a 2/2. The 2/2 obviously can block this, but I don't think you give a shit. Because you're going to be playing flyers. You're going to kill your opponent. This card's cool. It's a good Death and Taxes card in a world where there are too many good Death and Taxes cards. Yo, Vannifar is slaying right here. That overlap looks weird to me. Because this collar, like her arm is like between her shoulder poof and her collar poof. It does look like a Luna butterfly though. That's cool. She looks fucking jellyfish as shit right there. God, this one's so good. Alright, anyway. 2 green blue for a 3/4 elf ooze wizards. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Cloak a card from your hand. Or put a 1/1 counter on each colorless creature you control. Yo, that's actually pretty dope. Because it doesn't have to be like a morphed creature, right? This works with your with all of your artifacts, which is pretty cool. But yeah, no, teamer flip. Yeah, once I'm done like looking at all the cards individually, I'm gonna look at some holistic things. But yeah, no, I think she's cool. It seems like she's dead, which is lame, but whatever. This card's fucking weird. The Pride of Hulklade is a 10 and a green, 2/15 legendary crocodile elk turtle. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total toughness of creatures you control. Excuse me, what? Oh, right, Zagana died. Yeah, she can get fucked. I don't care about her. This spell costs X less to cast. X is the total toughness of creatures you control. So this is just Gulta, like OG Gulta, but for toughness instead. Cool. Okay. 2 blue. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+0, and gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. Draw cards equal to its toughness, and can attack as though it didn't have defender. Play with Bedrock Turtle. Is it not called Bedrock Turtle? I mean, this is a pretty cheap version of that. 2 mana for 5 toughness. Oh, this is 1 mana for 5 toughness. It's Aegis Turtle, I assume, is what you're looking for. Regardless, though, like this comes down so easily because you're essentially like allowed to have really high toughness for the early game defenders. Like, this can literally come down on turn 3. No, this can literally come down on turn 2. Turn 1, you play an Aegis Turtle. Turn 2, you play an Aegis Turtle. You have you have 10 total toughness. You play this. Turn 3, whatever. But turn 4, you can use the ability. It was the Caverns card that made toughness attack. Lost Caverns of Ixalan was a fucking blur for me. I did not play very much. Note how there's no timing restriction on that ability. Target control gets one. I'll have to go to toughness. Yeah. Yeah, you get to just attack and like, hey, you want to block? Yeah, it's cool. I like it. A Bedrock Tortoise. Huh? Right, but you still need to be able to like attack with your defender creature, but still, this thing's super stupid. So, if I recall correctly, the way it works is that every tortoise is a turtle, but not every turtle is a tortoise. And I don't think there are a sufficient number of tortoises or tortoise cards matters that would make, like, that would justify a need for wizards to add Tortoise. Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I? If I said it the other way, I messed up. Entering my memory palace. Hilarious. 1 in a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library face down. 1 in a red, discard your hand, sacrifice this card. Put all cards exiled with entering my memory place into their owner's hands. What? I mean, I guess it has to say that. The reason it has to say that is because theoretically, someone else could gain control of this card, and then if only cards exiled if only your cards are exiled, then you would be able to put someone else's cards into your hand. You're not able to do that in Black Border Magic. Cards owned by one player cannot go into other players' non-battlefield zones. I believe that's the way that works. So this is enchantment version of Bomat Courier. Notably, it's whenever a creature. So like if you're attacking with a bunch of creatures, this works. Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's a Bomat Courier that's less it's less aggressive because it's not a creature in and of itself, but it's like safer. Connect the Dots is the actual name. That would make sense with all of the dots. Foam Prop Weapon. Okay, sure. 1 in a red for a artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +3/+0. Has disguise of 2 in a red. That's fucking hilarious. Alright, one sec. When Foam Prop Weapon is turned face up, attach it to target creature control. It has an equip of 1 in a red. This fucking card did. The lands, in my opinion, make a little bit more sense. But this is literally this is a sword in a trench coat. And then at some point you open the trench coat and the sword just clatters to the ground. It's so weird. Fucking hilarious. Hedge Whisperer. Single green for an Elf Druid Detective to 0/3. You may choose not to untap Hedge Whisperer during your untap step. Pay 4 mana and tap. Collect evidence 4. Target land you control becomes a 5/5 green plant boar creature with haste for as long as Hedge Whisperer remains tapped. It's still land. Activate only as a sorcery. Meh, I don't care about this card. I don't like cards that make my lands more vulnerable. But then again, I'm the sick fuck that blows up lands. And Hedge Whisperer, I speak for the lands. So this is another person that looks to be guildless. I feel like I've seen a lot more guildless people in this block. For what it's worth, I will say that a 5/5 turning your land into a 5/5 is pretty decent. In limited, like this is pretty decent late game. It's fine. I mean, early game, you can, like, it's still not bad early game because it's a 0/3, so you can block the disguised creatures. But Forensic Researcher, 2 and a blue for a 1/3 Merfolk Detective. Tap, untap another target permanent you control. Tap, collect evidence 3. Tap target creature you don't control. I don't know if there's anything on Arena that cares, but if you have 2 of these, you have infinite untap triggers. Shit. I'm going to limit this to just be legal in Timeless. Because that'll give me everything on Arena. No, I didn't think so. Play them with the Street Urchin, who doubles abilities and you have infinite positive untapped triggers. True! Very true. Notably, you can't do it by itself, but it works with Gwenna. So you have Bant, you have infinite untaps and infinite mana, but you can only use that mana to cast creature spells. Oh yeah, just like literally any mana dork works. Damn it, that's opponent controls. Fuck you. Wait, Intruder Alarm is on Arena now? Oh wait, no, I knew that. I just didn't craft them. I wanted to make the Presence of Gone deck. I didn't craft it because it cost so many wild cards. Man. Oh, this works. Interesting. Mesmeric Orb works. Most of these are opponent controls. This still works. Other blue creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped, draw a card, then discard a card. Oh yeah, I didn't even think of tapped cards. Yeah. And so it works with Mesmeric Orb if you want to mill yourself. It works with Millennium Calendar if you don't want to. Untap Upkeep. You untap some stuff. Tap this. Untap one of the other ones. Tap this. Don't even need a dork. Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, right? Like, if you're using the Millennium Calendar, you also don't need the you don't need the white card. Draw 30 with the targeting power 2 dollar. I would be worried about drawing. I think it's much safer to go for like a calendar line than it would be to go for like an orb line for what it's worth. You can do anything with infinite mana. I know, but like theoretically, right? Like you have Researcher. You just have 2 researches out, and then you have Millennium Calendar on your untap. You get infinite untap triggers because they can just keep untapping each other. So you just win, like on turn 4. Oh wait, no. Play this on turn 1. Play that on turn 3. It'd be turn 5. Yeah, you're right. It's cool. It's probably not good. It's still cool. Harried Drone Smith. 3 and a red for a 2/3 human artificer. At the beginning of combat in your turn, create a 1/1 colorless stopper artifact creature token with flying. It gains haste until end of turn. Sack it at the beginning of your next end step. Notably, there are a bunch of things that want you to sack artifacts and/or creatures, so it's reasonable. The vibe is similar to Jadar, the 2-mana black dude from Innistrad, who makes decayed zombies if you don't have any. What you talking about? Unless you can untap the calendar itself. I do not know what you're talking about. You don't need to untap the calendar. Wait. Are you allowed to? You might not be allowed to do things in the untap step. JK. Yeah, this actually just straight up doesn't work. No player receives priority during the untap step. So no spells can be cast or resolved, and no abilities can be activated or resolved. Any ability that triggers during this step will be held until the next time a player would receive priority, which is usually during the upkeep step. Well, that sucks. Damn it, Wizards. Yeah, it just straight up doesn't work. Persuasive Interrogators. 6 mana. It's 4 black for a 5/6 Gorgon Detective. When they enter the battlefield, investigate. When you sack a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. Meh. Symbols looking interesting. It's fine. Hey, we have this dude. Alquist. 1 white-blue for a 3/3 human detective with vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, investigate, and then you can pay Sphinx's Revelation mana and sack a clue to use Sphinx's Revelation, essentially. You have to tap him, but whatever. Yeah, it's fine. He's a detective guy, sure. Aurelia, the Law Above. 3 red, white for a 4/4 angel with flying, vigilance, and haste. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia, the Law Above, deals 3 damage to each of your opponents, and you gain 3. Get fucked. Obviously, I love that she works with herself. You just fucking punch motherfuckers. Sorry. You get to keep drawing cards. 5 mana for these stats is totally good because of the fact that she has haste, she has vigilance, so she gets to block as well. Can deal damage to bitches. You gain life. Yeah, it's a cool card. Goddamn, so good. I love this treatment. Its art is good, but when I'm comparing it to these, well, when I'm comparing it to this, like this is prime right there. Benthic Criminologists. 4 and a blue for a 4/5 Merfolk Wizard. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, draw a card. Hey, it's easier to sacrifice your clues now. Cool. Burden of Proof. 1 and a blue for an enchantment aura with flash and it enchants creatures. Enchanted creature is +2/+2 as long as it's a detective you control. Otherwise, it has base power and toughness 1/1 and can't block detectives. So this is just fucking the ordinary citizen card. Slash there's an OG Innistrad card that's, I want to say a white, 1 and a white enchantment that, like, if it's a human, it gets buffed. If it's, like, by 2, I think. If it's not a human, it gets reduced by 2, I think. But regardless, haha, get fucked. You can't block my detectives. Fuck you. Sure, it's fine. Curious Cadaver. I assume this is the signpost uncommon. For Demir, it's 2 blue-black for a 3/1 flying zombie detective. Zombie detective is weird, man. Patient and surprisingly clever, though he does need to be reminded not to eat the corpses. Hilarious. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, return this from your graveyard to your hand. I do always love recursive zombies. This obviously doesn't work with collecting evidence, but the blue-black draft archetype is sacking clues. So, meh. It blocks relatively fine. Yeah, I'm a little underwhelmed by this compared to the white-blue one, at least. I guess the white-blue one does, like, make this better, so. Deduce. It's a story spotlight card, too. 1 in a blue instant, draw a card, investigate. This is similar to Think Twice. You don't get to recast the spell, but you can use the spell in your graveyard for collecting evidence, for example. It only costs 4 total to draw the 2 cards. You get an artifact token with this. Kind of evens out for, like, the casting additional spell. Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to Think Twice. Fucking demand answers. Sick art. 1 in a red, instant. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice an artifact, or discard a card. Draw 2 cards. I mean, yeah. We've seen effects like this. This is Tormenting Voice, but different. Fanatical Strength. What the fuck is this? God damn it. Whatever. This is a story spotlight? 2 mana. It's 1 in a green, instant, target creature goes +3/+3 and gains trample. Isn't there just a card that gives +4/+4 in trample? It might not be an instant. I mean, it's fine. You pay 1 mana for the giant growth. You pay 1 more mana for the trample. Sometimes you're going to be using this defensively, which is a reasonable thing to do. Yeah, fine card's fine. Gleaming Gear Drake. I may have talked about these previously, but I don't remember, because these are the older ones. This is the Is It Signpost Uncommon. Blue and red for a 1/1 Flying Drake. It's an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on the Drake. It's very reminiscent of Fairy Dragon. It's the 2 mana 1/1 that is it, and I believe it's flying in haste, and when you, like, cast an instant sorcery, you put a counter on it. Obviously that one's a little bit better, but I think it's mostly just because it's easier to do. Yeah. Hey, look, it's Lightning Helix. They're reprinting Lightning Helix. Cool. I like Lightning Helix. Sprite Dragon, not Fairy Dragon, yeah. It's those damn meddling kids. Meddling youths. Chaotic but surprisingly fearless, often seen in the company of a strangely intelligent hound. Well, if it isn't mean old Mr. Larchbottom, who's always been so eager to have the only dumping stall in Oxblood Alley. It's fucking hilarious, man. Anyway, 3 red-white for a 4/5 human detective with haste. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, investigate. This is, what, Battalion? Tag. I do not know if I'm spelling that correctly. I was spelling that correctly. Yeah, it's functionally battalion. Sure, it's whatever. This is go wide, make tokens, sure. Magnifying glass. This is a reprint, yeah. As such, I should not be talking about it. Okay, not on my watch. Another story spotlight. It is 1 and a white for an instant exile target attacking creature. We've seen plenty of cards like this. They're good and limited. They're garbo everywhere else. Novice Inspector. A single white for a 1/2 human detective. When it enters the battlefield, investigate. No conditions, just exile. It has to be attacking. That's the condition. And that's like legitimately a big condition. So my question is, are they going to errata Thraben Inspector to also be a detective? I want to know. The world needs to know. Is this going to lose soldier and become a detective? Is it going to just gain detective? Or are they going to just not have consistency and this inspector is not going to be a detective despite literally doing the exact same thing as this card? They are the same. They're both humans, one's a soldier, one's a detective. They both ETB and investigate. And they're 1/2s. It is fair, Puppet King. That said, if you need more Thraben Inspectors, it's your guy. Out Cold. Gross and hilarious. 3 and a blue for an instant. This spell can't be countered. It's the second time I've seen this. But it's essentially for the fucking morph creatures. Tap up to 2 target creatures and put a stun counter on each of them. Investigate. You'll get their stamens after they defrost. Hilarious. The 2 will remain unchanged. There's no reason to change. I disagree. The reason to change is consistency. Fucking stop. I hate when I'm already in my messenger app. Anyway, yeah, I mean this gets around the ward, but the reason it's important is for consistency. They're the same card. They literally both have Inspector in their name. They do the exact same thing. There's no reason Thraben Inspector should not be a detective when it literally is a detective. Does the word detective exist on Innistrad? It doesn't matter? Like, I don't think class creature types care in the same way. I might be wrong. There might be an example of that, but I'm not sure. Anyway, Rakdos, Patron of the Chaos. 4 black-red for a 6/6 flying trample demon. At the beginning of your end step, target opponent may sacrifice 2 non-land token permanents. If they don't, draw 2 cards. It's a Punisher mechanic that actually seems good. It's on your end step, so you get the value immediately, as it were. They have to sack non-land, non-tokens, so they have to sacrifice real things. Well, detective is a new creature type. Like, detectives debuted here. I'm pretty sure. I'll check in a second. But yeah, this seems actually reasonable for a Punisher card. Punisher cards, for those who might not know, are cards like Browbeat. They give your opponent an option. They give your opponent 2 options that they shouldn't enjoy. The issue is that typically Punisher mechanics, they don't work out for you in general, right? If you're playing Browbeat in a situation where your opponent has a bunch of life, like you're obviously going against burn deck, you'll just take the damage, right? Like, you don't care. You don't want them to have more cards. If you're in a situation where you need to not die, then this just draws them 3 cards, and their 3 cards, for what it's worth, might not kill them, right? They were in Doctor Who. Oh, I think I see what you're saying. So if they didn't change it with Doctor Who, then they might not change it here. That is true. That is true and disappointing. Dope card is dope. Very interesting perspective in Blur thing. That's kind of cool. But I think I like OG the most. It's good. It's a good Rakdos. I'm excited to put him in my Bells and Lock deck. Topiary Panther. 4 dub green for a 6/5 trampling plant cat with basic land cycling of 1 and a green. Cool. It reminds me of Crozen Tusker, which is very similar, except Crozen Tusker is normal cycling, and it costs more. I apparently didn't fucking put Tusker. It costs 7, so 6/5. It doesn't have trample. Okay. But you get to draw a card and get a land. So. Hey, look, Shock is getting reprinted. Some good art. It's good art. Fuels your evidence. True. Wojek Investigator. I just realized how close this is to Wojak. What? Wojak. There's Bojack Horseman. There's Soyjacks? Is Wojak? No, Wojak's still a meme thing, right? Whatever, anyway. We have another potential Death Dex card. Let's see what it does. Tona White for a 2/4 Flying Vigilance Angel Detective. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate once for each opponent who has more cards in hand than you. It's reasonable. It works nicely with the 2-drop. It doesn't really fit in the Angel aggro deck, because that deck just has too many good 3-mana Angels. The 3-drop slot for Death and Taxes is really, really tough. But maybe there's so few of the strongest Death and Taxes cards in Standard that you can still make a good Standard version of, let's be honest, most likely Hate Bears. They're unlikely to be enough Taxes specifically cards. They'll more likely be similar to Hate Bears. But I like the card. 3-mana 2/4, it's good limited, etc., etc. That art's dope. Oh, I was like, what the why is she pointing to the sky? This is not her feather. Sure. Get to the weird cards. I like it. But it hurts my brain. Because there's some upside down shit going on here. But it's not a full mirror. It's fucking me up. Love this one though. I mean, it's still fucking me up, but I really like the Orzhov. Alright, fuck you. I mean, literally, in my Discord, I have Theurg's Greed. Those are Escher stuff? Yeah. That's cool. I don't love it. I'm not inspired by blue and red, apparently. It's a Dimir Swamp. It doesn't look like it has upside down shit. It's interesting. Still cool. And then we also have a fucking lead pipe. Single black for an artifact clue equipment. It's just like a knife. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. It's the normal clue sack, and then equip for 2 generic. Okay. So very quickly. Okay. It appears that there were not new cards since I last looked. So I want to look at this a little holistically. And most of it was like the Teamer flippy flips. So Venifar, does a thing at the beginning of your combat. And what's nice, right, is that you can put a counter on each of your colorless creatures while they're like face down and shit, which will make the flip ability for Pyrotechnic Performer better. And it was a 2-mana red card, right? I literally just looked at all of these cards, and my brain is bad. Yeah. Expose the culprit. Target face down creature. Turn target face down creature face up. Exile any number of face down creatures you control with the skies in face down piles. It's a little unfortunate that they do get exiled. The reason is just like it resets any counters you might have from Vanifar, but still, like that can give you some nice value. It's cool. I like those things. So we have like a 2-power creature matters thing going on here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the synergy is good enough. We'll have to find out. This is a black card, apparently. Does not look black in that art. Yeah, it's good. Even though we're not getting the commander cards, I just want to talk about these briefly. Because I think some of them are cool. Coust, whatever, who cares? Is a Naya commander, and it's Boros green. It's a 2/2. Whenever a creature you control that was turned face up this turn deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. And then you can tap him, turn target face down, attacking creature you control face up. Notably, this doesn't have access to the really stupid face down cards. Most of the really stupid face down cards are blue because they like counter things and shit. So, cool. Notably, this card isn't only once per turn, which is nice, but it only works on creatures who have been turned face up this turn. It's a cool card. It costs 2, which is very nice because you can play him on 2, and then on turn 3 you can morph a card, and then like turn it face up, right? Like you can get some really stupid morph cards. I was wondering if they would have that. The issue is they're not fucking called morph. They all have different words on them, which is annoying. Whatever. The idea is turn 2 you play this, turn 3 you play a stupid big morph creature, and then you can immediately flip it if you want. It's cool. Mirko, Obsessive Theorist. It's the Mirko boss guy. 1 blue-black for a 1/3 Vampire Detective with Flying and Vigilance. Whenever you surveil, put a 1/1 counter on him. Beginning of your end step, you may return target creature card with power less than Mirko from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. There are ways to remove counters, which is dope. You can get rid of your stupid counter things. You can have this be kind of a reanimated card. I'm very sad that that you're not able to put this into a brawl deck because Wizards isn't putting this onto Arena, which is again fucking stupid. Because Mirko is cool because it's another card that works with Surveil. Nelly Borka, I believe daughter of Bell Borka, who we saw in, I don't remember if it was a supplementary set or the previous Ravnica block, but it's another Boros dude. 2 red-white for a 2/4 human attack with Vigilance. When she attacks, suspect a creature, then go to all suspected creatures. I fucking love it. It's great. Maybe there's a way to... Yeah, it's a zombie. It's the blue-black 2/3 soul something. Oh, Modern Horizons? I'm thinking of zombie. It is blue-black. Counter. Soul Diviner. Yeah, 2 mana, 2/3. Remove a counter from an artifact, creature, or land, or planeswalker you control. Draw a card. So it works really nicely with Mirko. Alright, whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deals combat damage to one or more of your opponents, you and the controller of those creatures each draw a card. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deal combat damage to one or more. Okay, so you're only ever going to be drawing one. But I do love that she's Goad. Goad's a very fun mechanic in EDH. I think it's cool. Morska, Undersea Sleuth. Green, white, blue for a 2/3 Vidalcan Fish Detective. You have no max hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, investigate. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put 2 1/1 counters on her. It's kind of interesting, right? Like, you want to be drawing a lot of cards. You want to be potentially drawing a lot of cards on everyone's turn. Can someone say heuristic study? But also, like, she buffs herself. So you're going to want, like, you don't want to just make her big and hit the shit out of people. To be honest, I like all 3 of these. I think all of these are really interesting, and I think they would be very fun to add onto Arena, but whatever. Then we have the special guest cards. 2 of them are being replaced. Baleful Mastery, Cavalier of Thorns, and Death Cloud aren't going to be added to the Arena version of the list. They're going to be on the list for this set, but they're not going to be on the Arena version. Hilarious meme. You put it in your hand so it's garbage. And then Smuggler's Copter. So yeah, the rest of these are going to come to Arena. Notably, some of these cards we already have on Arena. Victimize is a really cool card. I think in Timeless we might see a legitimate Dredge deck. You only sacrifice a creature, and you get to choose 2 target creatures, right? So something like Stitcher Supplier, right? If you hit 2 creatures with Stitcher Supplier, next turn, you can, if you need to, Dark Ritual, sack the Stitcher Supplier, get the things. Notably, you have to target before you get the trigger from Stitcher Supplier dying, so there is that. We do already have Tragic Slip on Arena, right? Yeah, I figured we did. As you can tell, my voice is becoming destroyed, which is not great. We already have Tireless Tracker. Yes. We don't already have Ghostly Prison, right? Yeah. Ghostly Prison is going to be annoying as shit in a Turtley Brawl deck. Show and Tell's insane. Show and Tell's like actually insane. Yeah, I mean, we might see some sort of Show and Tell Omniscience deck in Timeless. We could see a Sneak and Show deck, because we do have Sneak Attack currently. It's fucked. It's fucked. This is horrifying. There's a bunch of zombies coming out of the floorboards of the big church. Gamble's interesting. I feel like we maybe do. I don't remember though. Gamble's interesting. It's hilarious. Yeah. Fabricate. Fabricate is one of those cards that like is really dumb in some formats and just not in others. And I'm not sure how dumb it would be in this deck or in like Timeless and Historic. I don't think it would be very dumb. And then Crashing Footfalls is not going to be insane because we don't have Cascade. We do have Discover, but the types of cards that we have aren't the same as the Cascade cards we're getting. All right, and then this is the full list. So those were the special guest cards. So we're getting Smuggler's Copter. We're getting this card, which we already have. Burden of Guilt for some reason. Combine Chrysalis? I don't think we have that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do. If we don't have this, we should have. Dusk Mantle is cool. It's not good, really. Hey, we're getting Cascade. I spoke too soon. Knot of the Bone. Actually, good card. Goblin Warchief. Actually scared. Although this might already be in the set, I don't remember. High Alert is not currently in there. So that's good. We're getting Isidore, as I said. We are getting Crows and we already have Crows and Tusker. Kodaltha Rebirth is insane. Death Cloud is not coming. Instead of Death Cloud, we're getting Possibility Storm. I am sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Kodaltha Rebirth is potentially insane, though. Laid to Rest, we already have. Relic Order, very good sideboard card. Magmaw's weird. Mass Hysteria is kind of interesting, because it does give us just a 1-mana way to give all our shit haste. Already have that. I thought we already had this. No, I'm pretty sure we do. Puzzle Knot, we should have already had this, but whatever. Mistral Plains. It's kind of interesting. Molten Psyche's fucking hilarious. Monologue Tax is not good enough. Mr. Key just seems strange. Nyx Weaver's cool. Yes, Nyx Weaver's cool. Putrid Warrior. Hey, look, we have another 2-mana 2/2 white-black zombie. It's fine. We already have Contorius. We already have Ranger Captain. I do not care about Shard of Broken Glass. Spell Snare has a lot of potential in Timeless. Stormkirk Captain. Cool, can we get the rest of them, please? We already have that bitch. I don't care about Treacherous Terrain. We already have Worldspine Worm, so meh. Like, I wonder. So, like, getting some of this shit on Arena would be dope. Could you imagine? Yeah, I think that is everything, though. Cool shit. I'm theoretically looking forward to it, but you know how it is. Yeah, anyway. Hope you all had a fun stream. I'm gonna probably upload this to YouTube, because I should. Yeah, check in whenever I stream next. Which, depending on whether or not my voice is okay, might not be Saturday. My voice is shot. Anyway, peace.